Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. And if you can, please stand and join us in the pledge, and please remain standing for a moment after so we can have a moment of silence. I asked for this moment of silence to offer our prayers and condolences to the family, the loved ones, the friends, and the brothers of Deputy Diaz, Deputy Waller, and Corporal Paez, who tragically lost their lives last month. So please, let's take a moment and remember them, especially their families during this holiday season. Thank you, everyone. So our first order of business tonight is to show, oh wait, we need a roll call. Why don't I have a roll call on there? Hold on, I'm missing it. Glad I remembered. Are we doing roll call after for the Mary?
Yes,
We are. Okay. All right. Very good. This is my first board shift, so bear with me. Okay. So back to what I started to say. This is a moment of appreciation we would like to give to Supervisor Giordano for his past 4 years of service to our community. I know he was always looking out and trying to save everybody some tax dollars. So with that, I would like to present to you from all of us on the board and the district, this plaque in recognition and appreciation. Okay. Now it is time to welcome our new board member, Mr. Richard Vassilotti, and reinstate board member Supervisor Argue, and they will now take their oaths of office.
And my suggestion is we do each one individually, if that's okay.
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
so
Can we just break because they'd like to take a picture with Keith? Keith,
we get a picture with you.
with me?
Or can we do it afterwards? Because there's pictures on here, reception and pictures. We could do it.
Yeah, we could do it.
Do it
That's fine. Sure, absolutely.
And the whole board can get it.
Yeah.
That would break the camera.
Mary.
Okay, all right, Ms. Argue, please, will administer the oath to you. You, Betty Argue, hereby solemnly swear that you will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and state of Florida, and that you are duly qualified to hold the office under the Constitution of the state, and that you will well and faithfully perform the duties as a member of the Board of Supervisors of Indian Trail Improvement District, from which you are now about to enter. So help me God, and thereafter shall devote personal attention to the duties of the office and continue in office until a successor call. Congratulations. Then we have Mr. Vassilotti, excuse me. You can, why don't you come up towards the podium? Do you, Richard Vassilotti II, hereby solemnly swear that you will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and the state of Florida, and that you are duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state, and that you will well and faithfully perform the duties of a member of the Board of Supervisors of Indian Trail Improvement District, on which you are now about to enter. So help you God, and thereafter shall devote personal attention to the duties of the office and continue in office until a successor qualifies. Thank you, sir. Congratulations.
Yes. Okay, so now it's picture time for everybody. We have, come on up, change the nameplate. And we're going to take some photos. This is an opportunity for the board members and their families to take photographs, to have this memento, and welcome you to the board. And then we've got refreshments we'll do right afterward.
We acknowledge the reception.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing to do.
Yeah, let's repeat that. Steve, come on up.
Should I get it back?
Yeah, hold it.
Hold the flag. Hold it up. One step back. Sorry.
Like, you want to move those flags in, so please, thank you.
Been out 24.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Have our logo.
Yeah. No, it's not the week, 3 months. Yes. Yeah, we actually hired.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, I'm all right. 38. So, yeah, we hear like, yeah. The traffic go better.
Yeah, and then one past that.
Fancy.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, you're gonna take one more. Glasses so I can see. Yes. So now it's time for our annual reception. Hello? I know everybody's excited. It's time for our annual reception, and the refreshments this evening are provided to us by our district attorneys, Caldwell, Pathetti, Edwards, and I always say this wrong, Schoch? Check, excuse me, and Viator LLP, Stormwater Jake Nearing, our district engineer, and Torsivia, Donlin, Godot, and Ruben, who are our HR attorneys. So thank you, everybody, for providing this for us. And everyone is invited to go and enjoy some refreshments, take photographs, have some, family time, and then afterwards we'll get to business. Thank you, everyone. Good night, Keith. Thank you. Okay, welcome back to our meeting. Roll call. Miss Scarlett,
Frank Palin.
Mary Viator and also Francis Bethel from our office is also in the audience.
Michael Johnson.
Richard Vassalani.
Elizabeth Acamando,
Patricia Carroll.
Betty Argue.
Jay Foy.
Burgess Hanson. We also have Miss Laura Donlin on Zoom, as well as Mr. Kenny Lawrence with Parks and Recreation.
Rob Robinson.
Miriam Heiser.
very good. Okay, well, I'd like to welcome everybody again to the meeting. I hope everybody enjoyed the refreshments that were provided and got a lot of photo ops. If you'd like to comment during public comment, which will be in about an hour, please make sure you get your cards filled out with the agenda item if you want to speak on that during the agenda or just in general. And get those to us before the agenda items come out or before public comment is called for. I want to just, if you don't mind, to take a moment to thank staff for the amazing job they did for our holiday celebration. The park was magical and we had an amazing turnout. I believe it was 950 children and one pet that went to see Santa. So thank you, everybody, for your time and our volunteers. It was wonderful. So great job, everybody. And thank you all for being here. We appreciate when the public comes out. So thank you very much. Michael?
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Richard. Keith, it was a pleasure. Thank everyone else for coming.
Sure, if you like. Welcome, everybody. I'd like to speak also on the holiday event we had this past weekend. I know we had a bit of rain that kept working, I think, our Park and Rec's last nerve on the electric over there and the generators, but it went off really well. We worked through it. We had a great crowd. I think we had 950 kids take pictures with Santa Claus, and I know that the Santa sleigh was a huge hit. I think the staff really put their heart and soul into creating this beautiful little winter wonderland. And I hope next year we have an even bigger crowd. And thank you to all the volunteers and the staff that helped put this together. It was a really great event. And welcome, Richard. Thank you.
Welcome, Richard. And thank you for everyone that came and anything more to say right now?
All right.
Well, Merry Christmas.
Yes. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. All right.
Okay, more than 1 minute or just one time.
Just this time, because it's your first and that's it.
All right. Thank you, everyone. This has been an amazing, interesting, and exhausting journey. I cannot have done this by myself, without any doubt. I would first like to thank my beautiful wife, Janice, and my two amazing children, Axel and Brooklyn, for all their dedication, ideas, and patience while campaigning. My son spent many 13-hour days with me at the library. My son spent many 13-hour days with me at the library, and we were tracking an average of 10 miles a day canvassing the parking lot of the library and interacting with every single resident we possibly could. I'm truly blessed to have such an awesome family. Thank you to my father-in-law, Bob Weissman, for his guidance and expertise, my mother, Connie, and my Aunt Dulcie. They were out there holding signs as well. It's times like this when I know that I'm the luckiest person alive to have a family like that. Many thanks to the Republican Executive Committee for reaching out to me and believing in me. Their support was truly instrumental. Many of my son's friends through elementary, middle school came out to help. Some of them who I've coached in baseball since they were little, getting up at 6 a.m. on their own, not being told to. They wanted to come out and help. Some of these kids still call me Coach Rich. Amazing bunch of boys. I really appreciate their help. Many thanks to my firefighter brothers and sisters who also helped. Too many to mention. Folks, our law enforcement, our firefighters are amazing individuals that willingly place themselves in harm's way every day for their community, and to be a part of an organization that would sacrifice everything without even thinking about it for each other is amazing. So I really appreciate their support. my endorsements were absolutely amazing. I was endorsed by 4 unions, the Professional Firefighters and Paramedics of Palm Beach County, the West Palm Firefighters Union, the Police Benevolent Association, and the Fraternal Order of Police. They were very helpful. I can't thank them enough for all their help. 3 former county commissioners also endorsed me, Melissa McKinley, Mac Bernard, and Michael Barnett. I spent many hours with them on the Palm Beach TPA, Transportation Agency Citizens Advisory Committee. It's a big word. And speaking about our roads, particularly State Road 7, I'm very fond of. It's a road that needs to be done. I've talked about it many times. And one last I would like to thank our residents. Between the primary and general election, without a doubt, I shook over 1,000 hands, and I'm not exaggerating. I spoke to so many people. People asked me, they said, what are you going to do? And I asked them, what do you want? And I heard what they wanted, and it's been duly noted. And one more thing here, if you just give me a second. Many of you know already what started my journey to run for office started years ago at that fire station right across the street where I spent 15 years there as a captain. We have way too many serious and deadly vehicle crashes in the acreage, and it's been happening for years. And I firmly believe that the majority of these crashes are completely avoidable with some very simple changes that I'm looking forward to working with the county on, and hopefully as a staff and a board together, we can come up with some very simple solutions. In April of 2015, I had to pronounce the death of a beautiful 18-year-old girl. Her name was Brittany Baxter at 120th and Tangerine. She was getting ready to graduate high school. So she's the reason I'm here. She's my inspiration and my support. And that's what started my journey to this board, getting even more involved with the community. And you folks, I'm gonna let you know right now, I have nothing but your best interest in mind. I love this community. I could have easily promoted out of that fire station to many higher ranks. I chose not to because I wanted to stay in the acreage where I retired as a captain. So I appreciate for those of you that voted for me. For those of you that didn't vote for me, I will change your mind that you know that I have the right decision for you. Thank you for letting me ramble on. I much appreciate it. Thank you.
This is the one and only time, so thank
And
you.
that's it.
That's it. It's a minute from now on, just so you know.
I know.
Okay. Well, welcome. And
Thank
thank you for your service. We do appreciate it. Fire department's near and dear to my heart, so thank you. All right, item 7, agenda approval. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve agenda as presented.
I would like to pull an item, actually.
Okay.
The 15.3, please, to the regular agenda.
So we will move that
So
to.
I'll make a substitute motion to approve the agenda with the modification that I'll make a motion to move 15.3. Well, actually, my motion is to approve the agenda, moving 15.3 to the regular agenda. With that amendment, that's my motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, and we will make it 11.2. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed 5-0. Okay, now. Welcome, thank you. Now it is time for the annual election of officers. We will be electing the president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and assistant secretary. So if I might take a point of personal privilege, I would be honored to once again represent the board as the president. So I would very much appreciate your support. I think I've built a lot of good relationships. I'm still doing that, not only throughout the county, but up in Tallahassee. And we have a lot of good things coming down the pike this year with our strategic plan and figuring out everything with the roads. So I would be honored if the board would see fit, if I can continue on.
I'll second that motion.
No, it's
Oh,
not, I
you're not
don't,
doing
yeah,
that.
I'm not, how do we,
The other
how-
nomination.
how are we doing that?
Some people can nominate themselves,
Okay,
or somebody can nominate somebody else.
okay.
And
So I
then-
guess then I'm nominating myself. Is that appropriate? Okay. All right.
Is there any
And
other nomination?
any other nominations for president? So then we need a second, correct?
No. Need a second or it's?
That's it.
Just call
Is
the
it just call the vote?
Just
Okay.
call it.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Obviously, I thank you very much, and I assure you I will do my best to represent us and keep us at the table instead of on it. All right. Next is vice president. And I don't know, I think Patty's been doing a great job. If you want to stay on, that's up to you, but I would like to nominate you to stay on.
I agree. Yep.
Okay, all right. So all in favor?
Is there any other?
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Are there any other nominations? No? Okay. All right. So call the question, Vice President for Patricia Farrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 5-0. Treasurer. I know when I started, the advice I was given, my first was be the treasurer because when you know where the money is, you know what's going on, right? That was good advice. So I think that it's appropriate if we nominate Mr. Vassalotti so he can figure out where the money goes. So he knows when he talks to people and they say, what are you guys doing? And you could say, hey, we do this, this, and this. So I would like to nominate if you accept. Any other nominations for treasurer? Nope. All right. All in favor? Okay. Michael? Oh, passes 5-0. Secretary. Ms. Argy, would you like to continue as secretary? Okay. Any other nominations for secretary? Michael, I know you're busy, so you got a lot going. So are you good where you're at? Or do you want to be more? Okay. All right. So no, any other nominations? Seeing none. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Aye. Aye. 5-0. Okay. And Michael? No, assistant secretary. So no, you're good, but we'll just go ahead. So call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0. Wonderful. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you all. Now we're going to do the appointments to as the representatives. So while we may not be actual members, we do have representatives that go out and keep an eye on what's happening all around us. It was formerly Mr. Giordano was Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council. So do I have a motion to appoint someone to the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council?
I'll appoint Rich.
Okay. And no. Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Well, since I was the alternate, and are we gonna appoint- so I don't see that on here because we did alternates last year.
I mean, it's legal, but I don't think you have to.
Okay.
appoint it.
All right. So I was on it last year and we are working with Tom and Dr. Delaney, so I'll be happy to take that on.
So you wanna
So
make a
now
motion?
we need motion. So
I'll make a
now
motion.
I can't do that.
Well,
I'll
anyway,
make a motion to
Yeah,
appoint Liz.
we can-
as
Okay.
The representative for TCRPC.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0, that passes. Representative for the Western Communities Council.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint myself.
Okay, do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Richard? Okay, 5-0. Michael, yeah. Board representative to attend the Palm Beach County meetings. I would like to stay on that. Anytime there's anything directly affecting us, I go to the meeting. Otherwise, I'm watching it online. And of course, we have our amazing Mary back there that's always working with me on things like that. So I would like to continue on the county meetings.
Motion To appoint Liz for the Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners.
Thank
meetings.
you.
Our second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See that it passes 5-0. League of Cities. Who did we have on League of Cities last year? I go to, do you,
Yeah,
Go
it was supposed
to-
to be me and you, but I haven't been able to make the luncheon meeting. So
okay, so I can typically
Yeah.
make it. So, my schedule is flexible enough that I could do it. So I don't mind staying on
do
that.
it, Rich.
Can I
too.
ask a question about that?
Yes.
So a lot of these, depending on the times, early morning,
Lunch.
But
This
this
is
is
a
a
lunch. Would you want to do that with me? It's really good because you get to know, other commissioners that you may not know, new commissioners, people from other cities is very important,
Thank you.
to,
And
yeah.
Honestly, it's 3 people, yeah. So, and it's
Okay.
always been whoever else is available, but we usually only have 1 or 2 that can go. The odd time we have 3. Yeah. Do you want to,
The table before.
Oh,
do you
jeez.
want to go or you? Okay.
Okay, all right.
I'll make a
So,
motion to appoint Rich and Michael as the representatives for the League of Cities, and Liz, you can still go as a 3rd representative.
okay, very good.
Second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Oh, wait, that was meetings. Hold on. Oh, yeah, that's the luncheon is the meetings. Policy Committee. So, the Palm Beach County League of Cities has a policy committee. We're not actually, Mary, we're not actually on the committee. We just go to the meetings, correct?
No, they were
No.
looking for volunteers
Yes,
for
they did.
some of their policy committees.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's already, I think that happens in January.
Okay.
So
I'd be happy to do that.
I'll make
Yeah.
a motion to appoint Liz for the policy committee for League of Cities.
Okay. And do we have a second?
And actually, there's multiple ones, so, but there's only certain ones that we're invited to.
Okay, very good.
Second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Michael? Okay. South Florida Water Management District, that's got Michael written all over it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so,
I'll make a motion to appoint Mike to the South Florida Water Management District meetings.
Second.
all in favor? Aye, 5-0. Palm Beach County Water Resource Task Force, again,
That's
Michael,
mine.
that is definitely
I'll
Michael's.
make a motion to
Forte.
nominate Mike for the Palm Beach County Water Resources Task Force Committee.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Through-
Excellent.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
If we
That's
could
also, oh yeah.
appoint Mr. Greg Schaefer, our stormwater
Oh,
director.
As the alternate, yes, absolutely.
But he goes to them regardless, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
we need to make a
I'll
motion?
Modify my motion to add, Greg Schaefer.
Oh, just for this. Yeah.
And this is just to have people at the meetings. It's not necessarily that you have authority to do anything unless the board gives it to you. So
Okay,
She was modifying her motion. Do you want to
I
do that?
did. I modified to, my motion to add Greg Schaefer
okay.
as the alternate. Well, yeah.
And I'll
Okay,
second.
And you'll second, okay. And all in favor of the
Aye.
modified motion?
Aye.
Okay, passes 5-0. The TPA, I was gonna suggest or Richard. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to appoint Richard Bassavati.
Okay. Second?
Who's seconding?
I think Michael said it first, not that it really matters, but, okay, all in favor? Aye, okay. Representative for Westlake, Patty, do you want to
I'll
do that or I
stand, yeah.
can?
I'll stand. I'm able to listen to it on, they usually record them,
Okay,
or I'll jump on them live, yeah.
okay. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second? Michael, thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, I think that passes 5-0. Seminole Improvement, this was something Keith did. Patty, do you want to do both or I could take that one?
Well, is this one? I think I looked at the
That's the
times
one
last
that,
time.
Like on the telephone, they don't video it.
Yeah,
It would be.
and it's early in the morning, right?
I would not be able to do it.
All right, so
Sorry.
I can
I'll
do,
make a motion to appoint Liz to.
Okay.
sit the meetings.
and do we have a
I'll
second?
Second.
Okay, Patty, all in favor? Okay. Loxahatchee Groves, Betty, that's yours. Do you want to
Yeah.
stay on that?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right, motion?
Motion.
Okay. Second? Okay, Michael, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Rich? Okay,
I'll make a motion to appoint myself for the Village of Wellington meetings.
do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, see that it passes. City of West Palm Beach.
We're
Who's
jumping
doing
ones.
I think that should be yours. How about that?
I make a motion to appoint Rich as a representative to attend City of West Palm Beach meetings.
Yes.
You're welcome.
I'll second that.
Okay,
Through-
all in
through the-
fa-
Oh,
no, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, you don't actually have to attend them unless there's something on the agenda that
Right.
relates to us, and we'll, staff or Ms. McNicholas will let you know
Thank you.
for any of the city appointments.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, see that it passes 5-0.
I'll go ahead and take the Palm Beach Gardens again.
Okay, good. Do I have a
I'll
motion?
make a motion to appoint Patty to the Palm Beach Gardens meetings.
Okay, second? I need a second. Rich? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay, passes 5-0. Excuse me, Royal Palm Beach meetings. Again, this was
It
Keith.
was Keith.
Yeah. Does anybody,
When are their meetings?
I think they're 6:30, the third Thursday, it's 6:30
Is it,
in Royal Palm.
So
Do they
you would
do-
have ITID one night and then.
And then,
yeah,
right,
Palm
but
Beach
only every, yeah,
once a month.
once a month, yeah.
okay. I can do it.
You can do it?
Is it a video? Is it video or do you have to be
They-
there
they
in
do, I
person?
think.
I
Do
think,
they?
yeah,
Okay.
YouTube.
All right, yeah. I'll do it.
Yeah, okay, so we have a motion.
I'll make a motion to appoint Patty to the Village of Royal Palm.
Okay, second? All right, seconded by Richard. All in favor?
Aye.
See that it passes 5-0. Representative of the District Community Garden, who had that
What is it?
before?
What
Does
is
it,
it?
yeah, does it
Yeah,
even,
So this
Gary
is a
Dunkley.
problem because this was actually in honor of Gary Dunkley and it just has not.
What is
been-
expected of them?
Well, it's to try to coordinate a community garden program. That was the whole point of this, at, Nicole Hornstein, the Hamlin House, where the Hamlin House is. We have a garden plot there. And, we used to grow vegetables there and we actually had a staff member that managed it. And then, of course, people could come and help if they wanted. But it never got off the ground after Gary passed away.
well,
so,
I think it's time it did.
Yeah.
I'm thinking our farmer. Is that something that you
Okay.
can?
I'll be,
As long as they want lettuce.
I'll, do you mind if I, because I would love to be involved in something.
Yeah.
The
I
two of
think
us
so
can
we-
co-chair?
If
Yeah.
Do,
you did
yeah.
it, that would be great.
Right.
I'll
because-
co-chair.
Yeah,
Fine.
okay, so we've got Michael and Patty. And I need a motion, please.
I'll make the motion to
Okay.
appoint Michael.
Second? Okay, Richard, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay,
I'll
okay.
make the motion to appoint myself for the litigation.
I was actually gonna ask for that,
Well,
so it's good, right, so, whoever wants to, make a motion to, how do we do that?
I haven't. I've
Right.
had it since the beginning.
Right.
Because of the historical knowledge.
Can we do two? Can we do Chair and Co?
The only problem with doing that is like the sunshine
Sunshine.
law that you'd be communicating and trying to take, maybe advise something that you're gonna be taking action on. So I think you'd have a problem having two.
I'm gonna make a motion for Elizabeth to take them into litigation.
I already made a motion to appoint myself. So.
Okay, so now what?
Well, do we have a second for Ms. Argu?
I'll second Betty just on the history.
Okay, so,
Call the question.
okay, so let me write this down. Michael seconds and, okay.
You could always do an alternate, like have the one designated as the first And then if you want to put it back up for the second one, but the problem is you're
It's
gonna have
not
a
really,
problem.
it's not that, I know.
You're gonna have a problem for communication.
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, I would agree. That will, just not from a sunshine, but just the constant interaction with an attorney and trying to keep it with a special litigator might pose a problem. Especially
Okay.
going through the appeal process.
Okay.
But that's my
Makes sense.
professional.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Pat. Okay, so I've obviously voted myself, so we've got 2-3 vote.
So do I make the motion, since that motion didn't pass, do I make a motion now?
Yes?
I make a motion to appoint Elizabeth as the board representative to the Minto Sid litigation.
And, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed.
Michael? Okay, see that it passes 4-1. I won't let you down, don't worry. Okay, now it's time for our presentations. Lieutenant Sowers, are you here still?
There is something missing on here, and that is the equestrian committee.
Okay, can we add it now or?
Yeah.
We can add it now? Okay,
My suggestion to add it as a motion.
I'll make a motion to add the equestrian committee chair on here. And I'd like to appoint myself.
do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed.
Okay, see, Michael, you second, right? Okay, so, see that it passes 3-2. Lieutenant. Oh, hi. There you are.
Good evening, everyone. For this month's accident reports, it's good news, but not the best news. You guys went from 22 traffic crashes last month to 19 this month with 3 that were transported to the hospital for injuries. No real clusters, but it's of course, like 6 of them occurred on Seminole Pratt in various locations, and then the rest were scattered throughout the acreage. Just on a much different note, I just want to kind of remind everyone, some of the surrounding areas have had some stolen vehicles. So I just want to remind everybody to make sure that you're locking your vehicles, taking your keys in at night, because some of it's just opportunistic. People are going around pulling on door handles. So 'tis the season. So, we hope that everybody will be mindful of that. And one of the most important things, I want to thank you for the moment of silence for our deputies. And I also want to thank everyone in this area for the outpouring of support. It was absolutely amazing. It's appreciated more than you know. And it's just been amazing. And thank you for the patience with the road closures, because I know it has been an inconvenience for a lot of people. And despite that, we continue to have support. But we have to do what we have to do. And unfortunately, road closures are a part of that. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of our agency.
Of course, of course.
Do you guys have any questions for me?
I do, in fact, in this report, we had a young man, that unfortunately went into the canal on a side-by-side.
Yes.
And, I know the family, so it's a little difficult, and the neighbors and dear friends. What can we do about that? I mean, I know we have a task force. I spoke to the colonel. We're seeing a lot more side-by-sides coming out there again. And there was 2 that ended up in the canal. Unfortunately, fortunately, the first one, there was no injury. It was on the south side, where the water was low. Machine did not go underwater. Obviously, the second one was not so fortunate. I know the task force was created and it was supposed to be out here. I mean, this is not just a problem out further west, but all around. I see constantly on social media, kids on dirt bikes, that we need that task force out here. And I don't know, is there a delay? Is the program stalled? Is it happening? Are we moving forward soon
Are you referring to the task for the,
for the side by sides?
actually Sergeant Goudreau? You want to come up?
Hmm.
Sergeant Goudreau is one of our experts in this area, and he just so happens to be here this evening. So I will let him speak a little bit on that.
Thank you.
Uh,
Aye.
So the Wildlands Task Force was designed for the wildlands areas around here. We contract them when we have issues out here. I should say, I contract them to work with my agents on our side by sides and ATVs to come out of their contract areas and work here.
Can you
get
get
them-
closer to the mic?
To
I'm
get them
getting a
to
signal.
get them to do that, we have to take them from their primary job to bring them out here. It's usually on overtime in times that they're not scheduled to work.
Right.
So it's an inconvenience for them. It's hard to get them out here. It's hard to schedule them and pay them all to come out and work the weekends that we have the issues.
Right.
So the Wildlands Task Force wasn't created for issues in the county. They were created by to be in those specific areas that they're. having.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
we have to ask them to come and help us to help you.
Okay. So what else can we do then if there is, a shortage of,
We
Yeah.
here only have one side by side and two ATVs.
right,
So the lieutenant does allow road patrol to go out and ride those and try and enforce them as much as they can. It's just a huge pain for them to go get a side by side or an ATV, park their car at the ITID, drive
Right.
it out. By the time they drive it out to start enforcement, there's a car accident or something that occurred. They have to go back.
right.
Put the
I mean,
ATV up.
do they have to be on an ATV or side by side to
So
do
they
this?
They, road patrol and my team do ATV and UTV patrol all day, all the time.
Right,
They just can't go to specific areas, sit there and or go in the woods, right? So if you have a pickup truck or a police car, you can't go off of 206. and
Right.
Go in the woods and catch these kids when they're not
Right.
in there. So yes, they have the pamphlets on them 24/7. We educate everyone 24/7 if they stop
right,
and they take a pamphlet.
right.
But for the most part, they'll run out to 60.
Yeah,
or they'll
it's,
run out to
it's a tough
200,
spot.
Right, or they'll run out to North Lake.
Right,
They'll go in the woods and then the deputy's sitting there in their car and with no recourse, right?
Right.
Can't go in there. They disappear. We don't ever see them.
right.
It's a difficult situation.
Yeah.
It really is. And We have had our deputies do make an effort all the time.
I know, oh, I know, I'm not doubting that at all, but you can't be everywhere and I understand, yeah.
Fortunately, a lot individuals that are operating these machines are juveniles.
Right,
Need the parents to be more accountable for these devices, for this machinery, and not let their kids on it, or if they're gonna let them use it, be with them. It's when they get their hands on it and we've seen kids as young as 10 years old out riding around. That's where the parents need to step in and take control and not make these devices so readily available to the kids.
Accessible,
It's
yeah.
unfortunate and, a lot of them don't understand how to operate the equipment, or they do, and they're gonna be crazy.
that's seasoned riders, yeah. It's just, it's just so hard because everybody wants to have a good time and everybody wants to have fun, but people are losing their life. So where do we draw that line and how do we protect lives? So I know it's a challenge, right? And you guys have that challenge every single day throughout your job. So thank you for everything that you do. And I hope we get the message out there. I know a couple of years ago, there was talk about doing a PSA.
We did the PSA.
Maybe we could do another one, maybe even like something on social media
That's why we
where
circulate
that we could circulate in the local groups and just try to,
Last year, we circulated a PSA on Facebook. And Loxahatchee Off-Road, the acreage speeds, we did circulate that PSA that it's against the law. They showed pictures of the crashes, the ATV.
I mean, and they
wrecks.
need a place to ride. So
Right.
that's
Educate in the schools as well.
right. That's good.
Kids,
Yeah.
elementary
yeah.
schools.
I mean, it's not like that we want to take away people's fun, but we just don't want to see anybody get hurt. And when they're riding in the road and, we have so many distracted drivers, as we could see from our accident reports, this is where the hazards happen.
It just comes down to manpower.
Right.
And having the equipment and the
Right.
people to do those specific events, and we just don't have. But yeah, 218.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
can't
No, I
fix
I
it.
understand the challenge. I do. I'm just trying to, bounce some things and try to,
I do want to say that it's not distracted drivers. That's the issue.
Well-
It's the ATVs. And it's not just in a specific area, it's throughout. the whole
throughout, that's what I
district.
said, yeah,
They're
throughout the
destroying our
district.
roads.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
and
everywhere, yeah.
costing- I think, residents deserve to know that that's actually
We're
costing
supposed to
us
pull,
money to maintain the damage that
non-emergency.
they're doing
So
on
there's
our
a record.
roads.
Still do the intersection of, takeovers down south, and yeah, there's a lot going on with. That type of stuff.
It's unfortunate, but if you do follow social media, which I'm sure you guys do, you will see the postings on there where we're going out, whether the cops are out. Acreage residents are posting, the cops are out on Hamlin, don't go out, F them, we're going to go out. All this stuff is on there that I follow on a regular basis for these reasons, right?
And the other thing you see on a daily basis is the kids that are out riding that are not paying attention. and-
Right.
And people are posting about that on Facebook
Yep.
that, hey, if this is your kid. And unfortunately, the ones with dirt bikes and on the motorcycles, and we see them throughout the community. Far too often, we end up reading about them in the paper.
Right,
So-
and
I'll get
that's
with
what,
media relations again this week, and we'll have them put the PSA out again. for
Thank
the year,
you.
And hopefully maybe that'll help a little bit.
yeah, yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, great. Thank you, guys. Be safe out there. Happy holidays. Okay, on to 10.2, District Chief Vamera. She here? Yeah, she.
Good evening. Nice to see everybody. Congratulations to both of you on your reelection and you starting tonight. That's really awesome. So for the month of November, we had 268 emergency responses in Indian Trails Improvement District area. Just about 70% of those were medical calls. And then the next one, that was 186 medical calls. And the next one was 30 traffic accidents that we responded to. So that really is quite a bit. We had a average dispatch handling time from when the tones go off to when a truck is en route was 41 seconds. I'm sorry, from when they call and unit dispatches a unit was 41 seconds. And then the average turnout time from when they get the tones at the station and going en route was 46 seconds. We had an average travel time of 6 minutes and 51 seconds for a total overall response time of 8 minutes and 19 seconds for the month of November. Any questions?
Thank you. No.
No?
And thank you for looking into that, what I asked you about last night.
Yes.
I had asked the chief if there's a way to dial in on the accidents if they're residents or outside the boundaries. So they're going to try to dial in on that if it's possible. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
It would be hard to figure out if they're actual residents or people
Right.
just passing through. But I don't know if collaboratively with PBSO, if there's some way that we could try to figure that out, but
Okay. Well, I appreciate any effort.
No
Thank
problem.
you very
Sure.
much.
sure.
Anybody have
Any
any
other questions?
questions?
No?
Well,
Okay,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Happy
Thank you.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Yes.
Quick, in regards to the equestrian committee,
Mhm.
there was a vice chair.
I was actually
think
gonna
that's
mention
what-
that after she was
Oh,
done.
okay.
Stomach.
Okay.
I'd like to be the co-chair.
To the
Okay.
chair. Are those meetings advertised in the newspaper? Or
They
like,
have to.
do we?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Okay. So, we need a motion, we're going back to, 9.18 for the equestrian committee, for vice chair for Supervisor Farrell.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Okay. Should. All in favor? Aye. Okay, 5. See that up passes 5-0, excuse me.
It's like, where'd the one come from?
I don't know. I'm looking over here. I see a 1. I'm just. Okay. All right. Item number 11.1. To consider rescheduling the joint workshop meeting with the Acreage Athletic League. We're on regular agenda. I need cards. Do we have any cards for this? Thank you.
Good, Chair. At the last meeting, I had requested that the service provider agreement be on the agenda. And it's not on the agenda, but the rescheduling of the workshop is. So can you please explain why it's not on the agenda?
Well, we were originally supposed to have the workshop so we could sort everything out. And it's my understanding that a lot of the things weren't received. So what to forward with the service provider agreement, and I'm sure Parks or Mr. Hanson could speak.
Yeah, and
to
I would
that.
like the record corrected with respect to that. So Mr. Hanson, please address that.
Yes, well, let me address the first part because I did put that in the backup. While you requested it, there was no second and there was no consensus, and I confirmed that with legal before I left. And that's why we had put it on this way. So as far as having any paperwork, as far as I know, and I have not checked yesterday or today, but the board had requested from the AAL that certain things be done at the state level, and I don't know that those have been completed or approved by the state. And,
Sure.
and as of when this agenda was being produced, we definitely did not have that information.
Mary, do our rules require a second when a board member, because we have always in practice, if a board member has asked something be on the agenda, that it be added to the agenda.
Well,
So,
but some of the things for agenda matters, we do ask that when it comes up at a board meeting, that it be a motion. Yes, we do.
okay, well, that was not brought up that night at that meeting, and it has always been our practice that when a board member requests it, that it's respected and it's added to the agenda. So, I think it's totally inappropriate under the circumstances because this has been going on for far too long. And I think it's disrespectful to the people that have been patient and have done what they've been asked to, and to correct the record. At both the October meeting and the November meeting, staff reported that they did nothing that we asked, and that was not so. They actually did email staff and they provided everything. They provided the draft of the amendment to the charter and they asked for feedback and they got nothing. And then on October 16th, they filed it and they have provided proof after the last meeting that it's filed. They stated that on the record at the last meeting. Okay, and they provided proof that it is filed. They do not control what the state is doing, but it has been submitted, it has been filed. Okay, and the reason why they provided that to the staff in advance was because that's exactly what the board directed when we requested them to do it. And they wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything else that was not addressed. So, I'm fine having another workshop. I feel like we've workshopped this to death. We're not accomplishing anything. And
We
so-
haven't actually had any, they've been all postponed. So we never actually had our workshop. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they were supposed to start a whole new corporation because they're under the arm of the Landowners
No, that's
Association.
not what was discussed at the meeting. That was a suggestion as a possible solution. That was not what was directed, and we can't direct them what to do. They had a choice. They amended their charter. That's what they did. That was the easier path. So that's what was done. So,
Okay.
To your point about the documents being sent in, I during that meeting, I had Ms. Rojas Torado confirm that the documents were sent on October 15th,
16th.
because our meeting was the 16th. And she stated that, yes, it was sent on the 15th, received either the 24th or 25th. In the backup that she sent to the supervisors to show that she sent everything, the documents, the articles of incorporation, I believe were signed either October 23rd or 24th. The check was signed October 23rd The FedEx shipping label was October 25th with a receipt date of the 28th, with no explanation to that in her email. So why wasn't the motion seconded to have this on the agenda item? I would say because I think the board members, supervisors at that time don't agree with an SPA here. I don't think we agree that they are doing anything that we have asked them to do versus what you say. We asked them to change things, to do things. I would even question the articles of incorporation that they put together. Did they notice it? Did they notice it properly per their articles of incorporation? Did they list out the changes that they were going to make to their articles of incorporation? And you state on a constant basis, we should not get involved. Well, as far as I'm concerned, they are a service provider to us, an arm length of Indian Trail, and they have the obligation, or we have the obligation to make sure whoever is representing us in an athletic form is doing it properly for our community. And I don't think they are. I think there are very many red flags. I believe that we're going to have some people come up and discuss them. I've stated in the meeting before that and before that, that I'm getting emails and I'm getting executive board member, former executive board members, sports board members, coaches, referees, and participants complaining about the things that are going on there. And I really question why it's being so protected with them. Why do you protect them so much? When there's a lot of
I
red
actually
flags.
know, I'm actually
Right.
involved.
Well-
I actually know what's going on, so,
Do you?
yes.
Do
I
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know what, maybe you are notified on some things and you don't allow the board to know,
Well,
or any of the staff.
well, you've made it clear through your correspondence with
Oh.
staff that I requested in a public records request what your goals are.
What are my
And-
goals? What are my goals?
You stated quite some time ago that you wanted to send this out for an RFP. You haven't brought that up to the board, but you've been discussing it with the staff.
Okay, so I discussed it with the staff,
Uh-huh.
but in July, did I go through and try to work with Acreage Athletic League to do a service provider agreement? Yes, with no contention. They had it, a schedule, I believe, the end of August to go ahead and have a workshop and they canceled it. They didn't do their meeting to approve their articles of incorporation until the 3rd. And then they
Well,
didn't
they-
sign any of it until well after October
They can
16th
answer for
meeting.
that.
Exactly. They can answer for that. And I think you as a board supervisor should not be speaking on their benefit.
Oh, and
on
I
their
don't think
behalf.
it's appropriate that a board supervisor goes to the meeting and inserts their personal opinions about it.
I don't think I inserted my personal
You absolutely
opinion.
did.
Did I? Were you there?
Anyway.
All right,
Oh.
ladies, let's
I
not,
didn't think you were there on that.
let's not make this a personal battle.
Right,
Mm.
okay?
exactly.
May I make a suggestion? Is
Yes, ma'am.
For our agenda is the agenda item is consider rescheduling the joint workshop meeting. That is the agenda item.
Correct.
I think we need to have it as soon as possible because again, my point stands. This is unfair. This has been going on for a year and a half now. And it really is just ridiculous.
I couldn't agree more on that one.
There are some things that have come up, that come to light that are very concerning. And I would, before we call for a motion, I'd like to hear the public comments.
Well, first we have Wendy Rojas.
Wendy?
Sorry, Wendy Rojas.
Good evening. I'm just here confused. Confused as to our last workshop. Because in that workshop, I went through that video recording and I jotted my notes. And I sent that email back on November 14th, enclosing a copy of the articles of incorporation that were FedExed over to Sunbiz. I don't know where date of October 17th, 16th, 15th, whatever date was mentioned. I don't think I ever stated that as a date. I know for sure it was October 25th. It was FedExed over, received on October 28th. Proof was sent over November 14th. That video doesn't really clarify whether our articles of incorporation needed to be submitted for us to move forward with the SPA. There's no clarity on that. But nonetheless, they were submitted. We don't control, like Ms. Argue said, we don't control what the state, their processing times is. I called them and they said, unfortunately, that our title had needed to have reinstated in it. And so that was the delay.
What do you mean reinstate?
Reinstated articles of incorporation. That's what the title needed to have. And so she said, once I made the change, I could send that via email. They kept our payment. They did not return that. They kept the payment and said, once you make that change, you can email it over. I was given an email, which was sent yesterday. Again, we don't control how long the processing time is. But again, it was submitted and the intent is there. We do want to provide all proper documentation to you guys. We're not trying to hide anything at all. Now, the next thing was throughout the girls' season and boys' season, we needed to comply with insurance that wasn't even voted on by you guys. We needed to have all this documentation for these vendors. Unfortunately, Super Bowl, we didn't have a bounce house for these kids to get entertained by because the bounce house could not provide that insurance documentation. But nonetheless, again, we complied with insurance documentation. We pushed these vendors to get the documentation so we could have food trucks and just people there. Unfortunately, because we don't have a concession stand at the moment either. So we needed something for these parents and these kids to have beverages and snacks and food throughout especially Saturdays. Especially on weeknights too, when, nobody wants to go home and cook at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. Insurance also was provided to Kenny that has the SAM policy. I think he acknowledged it on December 12th. He said it was forwarded to the risk management team for their review. I have not heard back whether that is
The 12th.
whether we're compliant or not, whether we need to get additional policies with regard to SAM. I'm just here basically, I know I'm over my time, but I'm just here basically we just want to run a program. This is like the first time ever that we've had to comply, not have to comply, but we've had issues with any type of paperwork. Because there are certain people, and I do believe there are certain people that do not want us here. They want a new service provider. And I'm sorry, I have to point Miss Patty out. It is her. She's here. She said many times that she's here to work with us.
It's
The
not
reopening of
really
Community
appropriate
Park.
To do that to a board member, but
I understand, but
Thank
I
you.
just want to, and very nicely put, I just. She was there during the community park with us. Why hasn't she requested a meeting one-on-one with us to work with us? If she's willing to be there and, help this organization out.
Well, I actually want to respond first, and I was first.
Go ahead.
she was.
The insurance requirements, because there was some things that I saw that were false information on Facebook. So can you clarify what the insurance is that you were told you do not comply with?
Well, our vendors needed specific insurance, like car insurance. We needed workers' comp for the vendors. We needed just all this extra stuff that some of these vendors didn't even have.
And
Work-
this was different than what you were previously.
Than our
required,
regular,
right?
yes. Mhm.
And one of those, I believe, was the sexual abuse and molestation
Yes.
policy. And you said the car insurance policy. And what was the other one?
Car insurance, workers' comp,
Workers'
or
comp.
an exempt certificate if they did not have it. Certain, I think, policies on their insurance. If
And when you've talked to the food trucks and the bounce house companies, what have they told you when you've asked for those things and told them that it was necessary?
some of the food vendors, unfortunately, did not get back to us because they could not obtain it. Others worked their butts off and were able to obtain it and provide us with the insurance. There was one vendor in particular, I want to say it was the one who sells merchandise that we had during the tournament. He almost did not make it because he does not have workers' comp.
So somebody who is just a normal vendor is being required to provide this insurance.
Yes.
And then the last thing was, can you tell us about the there's an allegation about some money going missing with baseball. So can you, and it wasn't the Acreage Executive Board.
It was not, no.
So can you just briefly tell us how that was handled and what happened?
We were notified, we were reached out by a couple of parents on the baseball sport that they had some issues with the president at the time. Basically that their sponsorship money was not being put on any banners, on t-shirts. The uniforms itself, they were just made at home. That's what they said. They looked like they were made at home and not by a professional vendor. Sponsor names were not being put on banners, on shirts. Just the account overall, when our treasurer looked back on it, it was just depleting, but nothing was getting credited. So at that point, we stepped in, we spoke to a few parents, we spoke to what was the board back then, and they were supposedly all unaware of what was going on because they said the president at that time did not delegate anything to anyone, not even the vice president. So
And
it
you-
was him and unfortunately his wife who pretty much ran everything.
And it was reported to the police, correct?
It was, well, the police were called only because we were trying to obtain AAL property and we were trying to do it in a civil manner and keep it in a civil way. We did not want anything to blow up, explode, especially in public, especially at Hamlet Park. So we called in a sheriff, a deputy, just to kind of oversee everything and just kind of be the neutral person out there so that everything was in a controlled manner.
And at
What-
the workshop, I'd like to hear what steps you've taken to ensure that that doesn't happen again. Okay.
And Wendy, I heard something about some issues with Amazon account as well.
Charges, apparently he somehow, the president at that time, retained the credit card information of the league. And were making somehow Amazon credit purchases were appearing on the credit card statement. We also had an issue with a small business owner who sold a couple bags of candy to baseball and obtained the credit card. He had the credit card, did not get it approved by his board, did not get it approved by our board or even our bookkeeper at that time. So he made a purchase of, I can't recall the amount right now, but it was, I think he bought them at $15 a bag to sell them at $12, which really was no kind of credit or kind of anything
Right, but
towards baseball.
what about the other, not unrelated to the candy? Because I heard it was quite a substantial amount of money.
It was definitely Amazon purchases. There were quite a few, and both of them denied it was them. That credit, the candy itself, it was a big purchase that we almost had to have her attorney involved because we had put a halt to it because we were trying to investigate it.
Was the board reimbursed for that?
The vendor was reimbursed.
The
She was
vendor.
provided her money. We figured it out that basically it was not her fault. She was not.
So
the
was there any repercussion to the person that?
We do
used
have
the
a police
card?
report going. We do have a police case number with PBSO. But we're trying to finish off the finances for this year so we could have a full report. And then yes, we do.
Okay,
We would
and-
like to.
And understand, Wendy, this is not an attack. Because you are an arm of the district, because you represent the district, you represent all residents. There has to be accountability to all residents. And when there's money exchange, now we're talking about providing public dollars to a private entity, in addition to building the park, maintaining the park, spending well over $1 million a year. In addition to that, we're providing funds, which we talked about to be used for your background checks and whatnot.
Mhm.
But regardless, those are taxpayer dollars. And we're not sitting here trying to attack you or the boards or anything else, but it is our responsibility to make sure that public dollars are being spent and accounted for. And something like this, and I don't know how long of a time it was before we were even notified about it. And that in itself is an issue. The district, and I'm not saying a board member, I'm talking about staff. Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Hanson should have been notified about these theft issues immediately because it is our responsibility to the taxpayers. So I'm not trying to attack you or anybody else, but this is something that's different than if somebody twists an ankle and breaks an ankle. We should be notified of that immediately. In the service provider agreement, I believe that we are notified if any injuries immediately because there is risk to everyone. And it is our responsibility to make sure that everything is going the way it's supposed to, going smooth, going above board. And I understand you cannot control everybody underneath you. I understand that, but it's the communication that's critical. Now, you brought up a shirt vendor. Do you know about that shirt vendor's insurance policy? Do you know that it did not exist? It was a fraudulent certificate of insurance that was presented. And we can discuss this more later, but that is a serious problem. And I don't know who did it or what, but there was no insurance policy in place for that vendor at that time for over a year. Actually, a different company that he had, a different program or whatever that had insurance policy.
This is the first time that I'm hearing
Right.
about that.
So this is, fortunately, these are the things that we have to dot the i's and cross the t's because ultimately it's our responsibility.
And I
So,
understand, but
right.
paperwork is forwarded to us and we forward it to you for your final review.
Exactly.
So
But
in
somebody-
all honesty, we don't, you
why
know.
this vendor would go about and go through all of that just to come out and sell a couple of things. I mean, that's insurance fraud. We're not talking about, hey, yeah, whatever. This is serious stuff. And herein lies the problem. And for the district to be responsible for this ultimately is concerning to me. So that's all I'm going to say. And we can talk later further on this. So.
Okay, and again, I just want to clarify that that is, I believe, all of our first time knowledge that we have heard about this
Right.
insurance, about that vendor. We were unaware, and I guess, like I said, I just forward the documentation to Kenny for his review, and he reviews it to whoever needs to review it
Right.
and approve. One last thing I just want to comment that in all the 30 years that this league has been here, I don't think there's ever been a complaint in itself. I mean, probably little incidents about each sport, but about the executive board, I don't think there's ever been a major complaint about this league. There's unhappy parents. We're not going to make every parent happy. We're aware of that. But all in all these little issues since maybe 4 years ago started out with specific people. And those specific people are because, I don't know, it's just, I don't know why they do it. I don't know why they're doing it.
And I don't think we should be the middleman in all of this.
We shouldn't.
We
And the
really
service
shouldn't.
provider
This
agreement
is,
doesn't require it.
this is not.
Again, this is our first
right.
time that we've ever had to deal with so much
Right.
stuff. We'd like to focus on the league and make it better for these kids. Put all these positive, programs out there, camps. We just want to be positive for these kids. We don't want to have to deal with having to, go through all of this hurdles just to have a contract, just to move forward with having a league for these
Well,
kids.
we talked about this and when we had our meeting months and months ago. There are ways to avoid that. So we can discuss that some more. It's 7:30. We need to move to public comment and then come back to this or.
Well, it's supposed to be time certain, but
Right.
it depends if there's if you have a lot of comment cards, you can have.
There's-
comment cards for public comment.
I would
Take
finish
the
up.
two. Okay, so we're gonna just switch lanes here for a minute and go to public comment.
Catherine. Bajasti?
Yeah.
Okay. I would not have gotten that. Yeah.
I just.
Please
Really
just state your name for the record.
Catherine Vidiastis.
Thank you, Catherine.
I'm averted at this. I'm one of the ones that you guys guardrailed on 162nd.
My address is actually 162nd Drive North. And I have two permitted driveways. I don't really know why it happened. But is there an opportunity to pay for road usage to get at least one of my driveways opened again?
I think this would be better directed in a conversation with Mr. Hanson outside the meeting.
I have the
Can
phone
you-
number.
Well,
Can you
I have
con-
three things total.
Okay, so we'll do this one at a time. So can we address this tomorrow or at your earliest convenience, please? So-
Okay, I'm just concerned because my address is 162nd, but if I call the police or the fire, they can't get into my property.
So you're
how does
a
that
Locks
work?
Groves resident, correct?
Well, I guess, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But my address is still 162nd, so,
Who did
they
you get a
can't-
permit for your driveway from?
oh, it's been on the books since 84, 87. It's permit 5210 and 5211.
Okay.
And didn't you receive notification from the district?
Not that I know of.
So there was never any communication from the district regarding your access to our roads?
Not that I know of. Now, Larry was alive. He died in February. Maybe he knew something, but he didn't tell me anything. And another thing is, I'm 68 years old and my mailbox, I went to USPS and they said, that's your address. We're not moving your mailbox. And I have to climb over that guardrail every day. I have bad hips, I have sciatica, I have bad knees, and I don't like it. It's painful. Is there at least a way that, you know how you have the openings for the bike trails?
Yeah.
Is there at least a way I don't have to?
And
do
I
that?
get the problem you're having with the post office. They're very hard to deal with. So you have a driveway on the other road as well?
I didn't until you
but
guys did.
You
what
have
you
one
did.
now.
Yes.
So
but
you
it's-
have access in and out. You just need to get to your mailbox.
And I don't feel safe saying my ad, if I have to call emergency something. How does that
You're
work?
not gonna, right,
How does that
right.
work? I don't-
Okay,
Because I
Mr.
can't get
Hanson
into
will-
my
right.
property,
okay, Miss,
and the back of my property has no address on it.
right, okay. Well, that's an easy fix, but yeah,
Yeah, through the chair, I'll certainly
Please.
talk to you, but Town of Loxahatchee Groves was aware and we did notify
yeah,
any residents and we made very clear that we followed whatever the settlement was from several years ago regarding 162nd. So while you may have had one, you did not have an active permit in recent history that we found, or else we would have.
It's in your
not-
database.
Yeah, it is not because
it-
we would not have
it
done
is.
that.
okay.
Well,
So
it's
let's
not
have this
active,
conversation,
So
yeah,
the point
tomorrow.
is that the town of Loxahatchee Groves wants us to block these driveways other than the ones that are covered through the settlement. So I'll certainly talk
I
with
think,
this.
I think I'm the only one that has a home on 162nd of the, what you guardrailed off. The other addresses, I think, are 161st, I think.
These things happen.
Mhm.
Okay, well, thank you. Was that it?
How do I follow up on this?
So Mr. Hanson has your phone number, card, and he'll give you a call.
Can I have an email address? Or is
Sure.
that,
Sure,
is that?
yeah.
is that-
Yes,
Can I
Ms.
confirm,
Cantley, give it to you.
can I confirm your phone number?
Yeah.
I just, no, you don't have to say it out loud. Just the last two. Is it 14?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Was-
Happy holiday.
You too. Thank you. Thank you for bringing your concern.
Okay, next is Bob Morgan.
Mr. Morgan.
Good evening. Congratulations, Rich and Betty.
You want me to get?
Bob Morgan, Acres Landowners Association. Last meeting, I had come up and expressed my concerns about service provider agreement / insurance. And I'm not sure if I was specific and asked for exact information, what we need to do in order to have events. Again, I was very concerned about how the Halloween had to go. We've never, ever had to pull a permit. We used the smallest park in this community for this Halloween event and had to pull a permit when we used community parks, amphitheater, a track, never had to pull a permit. So I would like to ask, please, I would like it in writing what I need for my insurance. If I need to spend an extra $4,000 because we have kids, if we need to have whatever riders else, if our vendors apparently have to have insurance now, I would like this all in writing, please. This is
Absolutely.
getting very disturbing what's going on to the nonprofits in this community. Thank you and have a nice holiday.
You too. Thank you.
Um,
We're just still,
That's all I have.
that's it. Okay. Right. So we're gonna get back to 11, where do we-
11-1.
11-1. Next card. What?
I'd like to go back to,
Okay.
if I can have.
Oh, yeah,
Wendy
you
Back
got
up here,
your-
please.
Wendy?
I'd like to continue. I had a, through the chair to speak with you.
Mhm.
So you keep pointing out how at the reopening of the field, I said how I wanted to work with you. I sent an email shortly after the reopening, and I opened it with, "It was a pleasure seeing you at the grand reopening at Community Park last month. I have been meaning to reach out to you for the past couple of months. I'm sorry I haven't done so sooner. It is my hope that we can work together to help bond all of our athletes here in the Waxahachie." I then proceeded to ask you to send me some minutes. I heard nothing from you. So to sit there and state that I have not wanted to work with you, my very first email to you was saying, "I'd like to work with you," and you ignored me. So I'd like to make that a point. I'd like to know when you found out there was an issue with the baseball board president and his wife, who I believe was also you guys appointed her to be the assistant treasurer.
She's no longer on the board and we found out in April.
April. Okay. So, and how much was the Amazon purchases? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head, no.
10,000?
I can't give you a quote. I can't give
Higher,
you
lower,
lower,
lower than 10?
lower, but again, I'm not gonna give you a specific amount because I don't want to be misquoted. We can go back and I can send you more information on that if you'd like.
I would like that. So you made a report. Who made the report to the police regarding this?
I believe it was Jeff.
Jeff made the report.
Mhm.
And then you guys, because I'll be honest with you, we pulled the police reports. So I noticed that so Jeff had the conversation with them saying that there was some purchases made through Amazon. Nothing was mentioned about this candy sale and whatnot. And I believe it was $20,000 was on that report.
I think,
Which would make
again, I
sense.
think it's something that
That's a high
he,
guesstimate.
it was definitely a high amount. I don't think it's that exactly. I think he was just
And so,
Jeff being with the money, being the money guy, he was just very upset that all of this had happened.
right. And then what was found of that? Did anybody go through the Amazon purchases?
Again, we're waiting till the end of the year where all the finances would be done. Full report can be disclosed if you'd like.
I'm confused.
The audit's still being done.
I'm confused. I'm confused because this happened in April. Yeah, just,
This
how
year.
long was he president for?
Couple months.
A couple months. So he had 2 months to do this, 2 months to do Amazon purchases, and you can't go back into the Amazon, to the credit card to see which purchases were not.
I'm not the one who's on the credit card, so I don't have access to the credit card statement.
All right. I have more to say, but I'm going to save it to the end. I would just, even in here, even in your own minutes from May 7th, after, you don't even discuss the Amazon. You didn't even notate that in your minutes, and that's huge. Candy sale, okay. But to have 20,000 approximately, roughly around $20,000. And you didn't notify anybody? Although I think I heard through a body cam that it was mentioned to Betty Argue, Supervisor Argue. It was, right?
Was, yeah.
And you didn't report it to anybody?
I
You
don't
didn't
think
feel it
there's
was
anything that
necessary?
required to be reported. All I knew was that there was an issue and they were removing the president.
You know
I
what
think the
did?
I think the misinformation was not
And actually,
I
did
think
tell her just-
miscommunication was, it was a Hamlin issue, the Hamlin Park issue. So we
So
were
it's a
not
county
like,
issue, even though
sorry?
It was a county issue, even though it falls
No.
under AL.
No.
So what is a Hamlet issue?
It was at the Hamlin Park. So therefore it's not an Indian
Okay,
Trails
I get
matter.
what you're
So
saying. I
we
get what you're
had,
saying.
our thoughts were, we have to deal with the county and
Okay.
we did notify the county. We did notify Palm Beach County Parks and Recreation.
I must say.
They are aware.
As soon as I heard there was an issue, I called our executive director to make sure he
Actually,
was
so did
aware.
I.
Did
And
you?
Yes, Burgess,
Oh,
I
that's
told you about
crazy.
it.
Yeah, not to the extent that.
Well, I did.
we're
I
in,
told you what I knew.
Yeah.
Yes.
Back in April?
May or.
When I found out about it, I told him what I knew.
It was reported to Palm Beach County
The
Parks
candy
Director,
at our
though.
meeting.
It was reported to him. I believe his name is, at that time it was O'Shane or Sean Farmer. It was reported to him because we were going to have a police officer present. So we didn't want to, like make an alert to everybody that there's a police officer
Right.
at the park. So we did make them aware of
Right.
what was happening.
So make me understand this. So you're still a service provider agreement for Indian Trail. You were at a county park, but still acting as a service provider for Indian Trail at the county park? That's just,
We have permits through Palm Beach County.
right,
Parks
no,
for
I
Hamlin
understand
Park.
that,
Mhm.
but does that supersede your service provider agreement? In other words, how does that disconnect it? So that's what I'm trying to understand. I'm not trying to grill you. I'm just trying to, understand. it.
Again, I think it was just a misunderstanding maybe on our behalf that since it was a Palm Beach County Park, we were to report
Right.
to Palm Beach County Parks.
because of the park, right?
Yes,
So now, obviously, everything's gotta come through the district when there's. a
sometimes
service
you, sometimes
provider
you just have to go through stuff to learn.
Yeah, exactly. No, I get it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to grill you. I'm just trying to understand and have open communication. This is important.
We did not wanna, again, it's not like we were hiding it. We notified what we thought were the proper,
Right.
person.
Okay.
Through
Awesome.
the chair.
Thank you. Yeah.
The other thing is that I don't think there's anywhere in the service provider agreement that says that if there's an issue with finances, that it has to be reported to the district immediately. It does say that about injury
Right.
at a
Which
park.
wasn't done.
Because, and that's because of the insurance part.
Right.
But the other part is that that you refer to the tax dollar and you said something about it paying for background checks, but no, under the service provider agreement, that $5,000 per year that was given every 2 years, that has not been given to them for a year and a half. Okay, so for the past year and a half, they haven't received that money. But that money was specifically as a sponsorship or in lieu of a sponsorship to put ITID's name on all of their equipment and on everything that they advertise. That was in exchange for that. So it's not like the $5,000 was going to compensate
No,
anything
I
that is
understand
going
that.
on
I
like this
understand that.
particular situation.
But we're
And
still,
certainly
right.
There's no tax dollars involved in the past year and a half because they haven't been given any money in the past year and a half, but they've continued to uphold their part of the agreement in the service provider agreement, wherein it says that they're going to continue to have ITID on everything and have ITID approve their advertisement, their materials. That's continued to happen.
Right.
Okay.
But we
appreciate
talked
that you
about-
Continue
right.
to do that. Yeah, look, there's ITID right there. And it's on all their shirts, every single thing that they do. So I just wanted to clarify that for the record.
Just through the chair. So number one, wasn't made aware that the level of money that was involved, because that puts it from my perspective on a different plane. So I have a little different perception of that than Ms. Argue does, because I think it does have an impact because they do receive in-county services, even though it may be at Hamlin Park. The other issue that, we do have issues with communication, and we've been trying to work with them on that over the past year. I will just want to highlight this past fall of 23, I believe the board voted to allocate what they would normally
Lights.
get to lights to help with the flag for the cure and to break up some of the issues with practices on the fields at Citrus Grove.
Correct.
So,
Right. So technically there was money. It was just given,
It
and
was
that was actually your idea, if I
It was my
recall.
idea, but
Yeah,
It doesn't benefit them per se. It was.
it
to solve
benefits
a
the
problem
program. Right.
That had started this all in the first place 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I mean, that's, not for nothing. But they did not receive that money.
Right. No, I understand that, but it's still in kind, just like the park. Okay, next.
Very quickly,
Question.
just back to the
Yeah.
baseball thing. I think when Jeff spoke to that detective, obviously, I don't think he had papers in front of him to prove that it was $20,000 or $10,000.
But you're gonna
I-
find out. So
We,
let us
yes,
know.
we
That- thank
definitely will
you.
find out.
I
because we-
appreciate that.
It's obviously something that we want to
You have to yeah,
clarify.
Yeah.
And we want to put on paper and on record because it's something that we believe, as a nonprofit organization, it's not right what he did
Right.
as a person to those parents, to those sponsors.
For the
It's
kids.
not right. And to the kids itself.
It's the
Yes.
kids that get hurt with all
Mhm.
this. And I've been saying that for years, and I got no skin in the game. Right. Right. And somebody under a nonprofit, I mean, I have a nonprofit. I'm very strict about all of that. And you have to be, and you have to oversee everything, unfortunately, because the buck stops here.
Mhm.
Right.
Yes.
So, and you're relying on these other levels, but ultimately you're the one that it has to be in charge.
And I'd just like to point out that now the new board for baseball, it's a new board overall. The president was I believe the commissioner back then. We interviewed 3 different people. And we, as a board, thought that was the best. He knew he has the baseball knowledge. He was already there. And as I can tell, I mean, parents are satisfied with that baseball season a couple months that have passed by. And
Good.
baseball has always been one of those programs that definitely want to get built up.
Very good. Thank you, Wendy.
Tia Scoran. Tia?
No,
No,
we.
this is
we've been
just on this
already.
agenda subject.
This is this.
We just spent all this time on this? No.
Unfortunately,
You have
yes.
a third-party agreement. I don't see how you're in their pocket checking what they're doing and somebody ripped them off and you're involved. No, insurance, I understand, because your insurance is involved with their insurance. But the rest of this, no. You have a third-party agreement. That's it. What are you encouraging parents to come here to complain about? And yes, you did, because I saw an email saying that I will be your voice. Please give me your complaints. This is not the forum for that.
You're looking
They
at
belong
me
talking
and
to
I'm
their
not sending
organization.
any emails.
They
So
belong talking to their organization. Okay? Now, I've also heard that one of the board members is involved in a sports business. So I don't know if that's true and I don't know what the involvement is. Okay? But it doesn't look good and it doesn't smell good. And the whole time that this AAL, Acreage Athletic League, has been here for 30+ years, they've not had a problem. A board member came on and said they were getting a vote, getting involved in this because of sports. And now we have this big issue. So, not right. If any of these board members have a sports business, a competitive business, an organization, a team, whatever your involvement is with sports, you should recuse yourself. You shouldn't be involved in this and you shouldn't be encouraging parents to come here and complain. And you're wasting our time.
Stacy Marino.
Hello, I'm Stacy Marino. I've spoken in front of you guys before.
guys,
Last
back
year-
there, please. Thank you.
Last year, I was able to come and speak with you guys, or earlier this year, we had this whole talk about our service provider agreement and having it renewed. I have a lot of confusion in here because I feel a lot of animosity from certain board members towards the AAL. And I'm a newly elected board member on the executive board. So I feel this need to defend, because I have been out in the AAL for years since my daughter was very young. I watched the hard work that all these people put in, that it's tireless, their efforts. And I have had the tremendous privilege of being around Wendy Torado and the countless hours that she and her family and her children put in when other parents can't step up. They volunteer, I'll coach, and then they can't coach. And then they take on 5 teams because there's nobody to coach, but we have the kids. And they're just out there day in and day out. And they do so much. So when I see someone like Wendy, and she was so upset at our last board meeting that she almost resigned, and we begged her, me as a parent, not as a board member, because I wasn't elected at that time, to please not allow a few naysayers to take her down. Because as board members, you all know how it's a thankless job you all do. And it's people stabbing at you all the time, even when it's nothing to do with you or something that's out of your control. So you'll always have somebody trying to undermine your efforts when you're at the top. And I begged her to please stay and keep doing the effort she's doing, because the kids suffer without them. I stepped up because, as a person who enjoys the AAL, I wanted to put my money where my mouth was and made sure I was there also supporting in any effort I could to see that this group keeps going forward. At our last meeting, Patty actually came, and I asked you personally. I said, what is your reason for being here? Are you here to support and see the continued efforts and growth of the AL? To which you answered, absolutely yes. And that your son also participates in the soccer program. Which you said was not really part of the AL, but it is part of the AL. It does fall under our our responsibilities. So I'm again putting that to you because I see such venom coming off you, and I'm not really sure. And as I said, you and I've been friends since high school. So I'm concerned and curious as to what the agenda is here and why such just such venom towards Wendy Torado directly or towards the AL in general. If you want to support, you made an accusation at our open forum and said you've received numerous emails and phone calls, to which you said you would send our way so we could review them and address them. Because if you've received them personally, we should have access to those first and foremost. Those should be forwarded directly to us so we could address those. So if you've been holding on to those or collecting those, why have we not been given those to address personally so we could resolve these issues? They're always issues, always.
Thank you.
So that's
Thank
what
you.
that's my
Through the chair.
comment.
I believe my comment at the meeting was, my agenda is to make sure that we have a good park, a good athletic is what I believe I said. I didn't say that I was in support of AAL. What I said was that I'm in support of making sure that we have a good sports program for our kids.
But we are the current sports program.
That's correct. But
So
what
you're
my
not supporting
comment
the current
wasn't-
sports
But my
program.
comment was not AAL. My comment was a good sports program. So whether or not that includes AAL or another means, that's what that means.
So I'll put it to you
And then-
again.
And then, no, we're not, that's.
Yeah, no, we have to,
Okay,
you guys
that's
can talk.
Yeah, that's a
offline. I think
curiosity
that's
and
better.
definitely, yes.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah, thank you.
Elizabeth McGould.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Elizabeth McGoldrick. I am the current president of the Acreage Adult Softball Program. Tonight, I stand before you to ask if we can be, right now, we fall under AAL chapter. In our league, we do not allow children under the age of 18 to play in our league. If they are 18 or still in high school, they cannot be part of our league. We have our own separate rules to avoid children playing in our league. We have, as a league, we carry our own liability insurance. Sorry, I'm nervous. I apologize. We have a board of directors made up of 4 members from 4 separate teams. Myself, I'm on a separate team than my vice president, my secretary, and my treasurer. We have our own bank account. We have, we are willing to pull permits to the SPA agreement in form of 501(c)(3). We are willing to do this because this league is more than just adults going out playing Friday night softball. This league is about bringing our community together. I have watched neighbors who don't even talk on the field on Friday night, shake hands. People talking who haven't seen each other in 20 years. I've heard everybody say how great this league is. I'm 31 years old and I enjoy playing softball. I play with my whole family. My whole family is on my team. But I keep this league going for everybody in the community, from the watching kids come out, watch their parents play, cheer on their parents, to seeing grandmas and grandpas playing. It's awesome. Like I said, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Through the chair, could she just file a rec permit versus them falling under the SPA?
That, that's something we'd have to look at because currently I believe they are under the AAL SPA.
So she said she's
it's
willing
great.
to start her own
That would be up to the
nonprofit.
board.
Yeah,
So you
Yeah.
have to fill out a permit request, I think.
So I
Yeah.
just need to fill out a permit request.
and
Okay.
get your own, create your own nonprofit.
Okay, I can do that. I'll get with my board and we'll get it set up. Thank you.
And then get with,
Through the chair.
Mr. Lawrence. If this is something that you want to do, get with Mr. Lawrence and he can, let you know what
Mr.
you need.
Lawrence?
Oh,
Kenny
our
Lawrence.
Parks
Oh,
Director.
okay. I deal with Jeff like 90% of the
Oh,
time.
okay. That's,
Through the chair,
Mhm.
I don't think we should be encouraging that. We have not even resolved the service provider agreement
Well,
issue.
this-
And
I don't deal
She
with
requested
kids
it,
at all.
so-
I don't deal with kids at all. It's
Oh, I
strictly
understand
adults.
that, but the Acreage Athletic League is not just for kids, it's adults and kids, and you're under the Acreage Athletic League now. So, what you're suggesting is that you take a league that is under the current umbrella.
To be honest, I have not dealt with Wendy Toronto at all. I deal with Indian Trails directly. So that's where my confusion lies of why are we a part of Acreage Athletic League when I've been told by Jeff and Kenny that they don't receive any of my emails I send to Wendy for our seasons, anything else. And we do it all ourselves. I deal with Jeff directly. I call Jeff when I have an issue at the field. I don't call Wendy like
Well,
most
that-
of the other league presidents.
That raises another thing, because I've been told that that's exactly what staff has been telling various sports, that they're to call him directly, when actually in the service provider agreement, it's supposed to be going through Wendy.
And Jeff told me that, he told me since due to the fact
Right.
our league information was not being relayed to him, he told me just send it to him because I had an issue where the lights weren't coming on. And I had a championship game scheduled. Am I supposed to call Wendy and then call Jeff? No, I have games currently going on. I can't,
No,
it's,
that's a operational issue. That's
Yeah.
not, yeah.
Through the chair, that is not an operational issue on our side. That's an operational issue on the AAL side. So, and
When lights are
yeah.
going off in the park right at 9 o'clock when they've got
If-
support
if
scheduled,
they're-
and scheduled right till 9.
if there is not a schedule.
Including when we change.
All right,
Through
let's
the
not,
chair.
let's not argue, please.
Receive a schedule for anything. We're not turning lights on unless we absolutely have to.
Right, so if
because
you're
there's
not
a
on the
cost to it.
schedule, you're not gonna know to keep the lights on,
And
so.
I'd like Mr. Lawrence to address that because he is on Zoom. He cannot be here physically tonight.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes. Can you all hear me?
We can, now we can see you.
Sorry, I actually have to have two different speakers on at the same time so I could hear it because it's a little low on my computer. Yeah, we have been having issues lately with the communication as far as schedules go. And it has been easiest to go directly to these individual sports boards to get these schedules so that we have the information that we need so that Jeff can properly schedule staff and our lighting. Now, the lighting is on over at the park till 9 o'clock. That's a part of the regular policy. But as far as if there's any extensions or if there's a schedule, we don't have that information on a regular basis. We get it for flags sometimes. Sometimes we get this right before the events actually start. So it's an issue that needs to be addressed moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Amanda Coop?
Hi, I'm the regional commissioner of AYSO soccer out here. I've been on that board for 10 years. I am a member of AAL and we have been a member for almost 20 years, 19 years, I think. And I feel like there is some confusion on whether all leagues are supposed to be in AAL or just some leagues. Like for instance, she's an adult league. However, we have an adult league also, and the adult league is not required to be part of AAL. So that's a little confusing on that part. And then we do have, we were required to join AAL, 19 years ago. But there's another league out here that is not part of AAL. So I'm just wanting some clarification.
That's a good question. And I don't know that we can answer that question tonight, but we have your information and we'll dig a little further into that.
Okay, all right,
Right.
that was my question. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Through the chair.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly what I've been talking about, because the reason why they were always under the Acreage Athletic League is that they were in ITID parks and they started under the service provider agreement under the Acreage Athletic League. Everything has grown out of there. So as soon as you start bringing in other independent leagues, that's where there's a lot of confusion and.
Well,
that's
it's just a
what's
matter
going
of, figuring out who's under who, but go ahead.
Amanda, where does the AYSO play?
Friedland.
We play it at Hamlin Park, so
At-
we
at St.
use
Mary's.
the county, we don't use Indian Trail Parks unless like we did last year when we were preparing for states. But usually we're out in the county parks, but we had to join AAL, years ago even to.
But years
use
ago,
those
you weren't
parks.
at Friedland Park because Friedland Park didn't exist. So.
Well,
it did
when it
start
opened, that's
initially-
when we, joined AAL,
Yeah.
so.
So maybe they need their own too.
All right, next I have a question. So we have, she would like to speak on all these people. I believe it kind of, wanted to, for how much time do you want to?
It's 10 minutes total?
Our thing has always been one person can defer. You can't have 20 people in
Yeah,
a room
that's it.
defer to a
Yeah.
person.
I know there's been.
Yeah, that's,
Time out, but there was another meeting where you allowed somebody to have 9 minutes.
yeah,
Well,
Mr. Dirks.
I'd like to make a motion that we
And that was
allow
for
one
what,
person to
before?
defer their time. That is actually not covered under. our
It's amazing how that happens when it's something you don't support.
I do believe the rules do say only two.
I don't know
each.
who it is.
I think it's only, you can just defer to one person.
Right.
I have it here. I'm trying to find it.
I understand, but I think it was a set precedence when we had a meeting and it was over the whole culvert thing and you had several people that went ahead and deferred their time to Mr. Dirks and he had 9 minutes to speak. I'd like to make, well, I guess somebody has to.
If
do
you
whatever.
wants to make a motion with regards to what you want to do for your procedures, but I do believe there is something in the rules that says that if a particular area or particular groups have a particular viewpoint, if there's a particular viewpoint, that it can be 10 minutes.
I think
Okay.
I think
So
10
we're going to
minutes.
defer.
That's if it's an organization to do a presentation.
Right.
That's not what this is. And we're planning a workshop, so.
And I do need to caution, I mean, the motion is about rescheduling the workshop. And we
Right.
do need to limit,
Stick to,
and
Yeah.
that would be my recommendation with regards to public comment and what we're doing, because the actual agenda item that's been put on there is to reschedule. So
But we've
it's
allowed
got
everybody else to talk about
No,
everything else.
no, I'm just saying it's expanded, but
Okay, so how many do we have? I'm sorry.
Right, 8 or 9.
Eight or-
I think it's fair to give her, I think what we did at precedence was set at that one meeting. I think it's 9 minutes.
So it's 9 altogether, 9 minutes. And then I think we're gonna have to, this is gonna have to
that's
be
the last
something that
one.
we're gonna
That's the last
address next month and how we're gonna handle this from here on
but if
in.
this is something
But,
else,
yeah.
if this is a letter and something else that we've already received over a personal grievance, it has no place here in the first place. A personal grievance has nothing to do with the service
But is
provider
that what it
agreement.
is, though?
Chair.
We
I'm
don't know
the
what
chair.
that is, so let's,
Through the chair.
Everybody-
wait, we have
I'm
to
sorry.
speak one person at a
yeah,
time.
everybody just relax.
Through the chair. The reason why it's important to allow the people, the reason why it's important to allow the people to speak, whether they're for or against, or how they feel, and they want to air their grievance, is because we have to make a determination if we even want to work on another SPA with them. Plain and simple.
That's not on the agenda.
It doesn't matter. The motion is if we want to have a workshop for an SPA with AAL. That's what, I'm sorry, I think the board needs to know do we even want to go ahead? I think we should hear what everybody has to say, and then we can determine if we want to go ahead and do an SPA workshop next month, or do we look somewhere else? And if we're going to recuse anybody, then we have to recuse Miss Argue, because her son participates in the sports program also.
I don't make money off of the sports. I do not make money off of the sports.
I don't make money off of sports
Or you
either.
do.
I do?
Yeah.
Off of sports,
Mhm.
organizations?
Yes.
Show me your proof.
You have videos, BA.
All right.
On my.
All right, guys,
site,
training, Betty,
Breakthrough
Betty,
Athletic League.
Betty.
Through
Yeah,
a,
different
my,
league
a private ownership that my husband has.
Betty,
that you personally benefit.
Yeah,
That's-
we'll address
please,
that one too. in a minute.
please.
Through the chair.
Let everybody settle down. I know this is a very passionate subject for everybody. Okay, but we're not going to get anywhere by screaming and yelling and shouting. All right. This is not even something we should be in the middle of. And all right. So
Should have,
all
but
right,
they
let's
canceled
let
it.
Patty, please, let's move on. The decision in front of us now is, are we going to allow the time deferral? And because we have done it in the past, and because this is such a passionate subject, I would like to hear from everybody individually, but I understand that not everybody wants to get up and speak. So I think we're going to allow the deferral 5 minutes. That's it. I think you can get your point across in 5 minutes. If everybody feels the same way on those 8 or 9 cards that we have here, we don't need to spend 10 minutes reiterating the same thing over and over. And then we need to make a decision how we're going to move forward. So whomever wants to be the speaker.
Through the chair. I'd like to state that this is not about whether or not I want to hear from residents or not.
I understand that. I know.
What
I
I am trying
know.
to say is that we don't need to rehash what we have all already
I-
received and
I
spent time on.
understand, but they
and
have,
If that
they
is the
have the
purpose
right
of the
to speak,
workshop,
right.
but the agenda item is really about
I
having a workshop.
I know.
Okay.
Go ahead. State
Hi.
your name, please.
My name is Sharon Musgrave.
Hi.
So I am actually the former girls flag football president. I have been the vice president of Acreage flag football, and I have been the treasurer of Acreage tackle football. I have been out here for 15 years with my son playing tackle, my daughter playing tackle, my 2 daughters playing flag football. I get that it is hard to find people to volunteer and to help out. I get it. I ran the sports. It's tough. But the executive board that is on there right now needs to change. A lot of the issues that I wanted to talk about, you guys have already brought up in regards to the SPA, with them not being in compliance. Why is it that, the November 13th meeting, it was mentioned that the corporate documents were sent to the state of Florida in October. It's now December. I checked Sunbiz this morning. Sunbiz, the state of Florida, yes, they fall behind, but not that far behind. I deal with them every single day.
Guys, please.
In regards
Please
to their
keep it down.
website, which part of the SPA states that they need to have their bylaws listed on there. They redid their website about 6 months, maybe a little more than that ago. The only thing that's listed on there is the background check, where you can do a background check for the coaches and everything. Their bylaws, they're not even adhering to their articles of incorporation and their bylaws. On their articles of incorporation, Article 4, officers and directors, it states the directors shall be elected by a majority vote of the members of this corporation. Article 5 states that a member is defined as an officer, director, coach, or sport board member. So as a former board member, board president, vice president, I was never made aware that I could vote in somebody for the executive board, or was even invited to vote in on the executive board. It also states, so on the bylaws, the sergeant of arms says that it is a non-voting position. The person that they have listed on their website as the sergeant of arms has voted in everything since that person has been on the board. Stacy brought up the fact that she's a new board member. They brought on 4 new members. And there was no advertising, nothing stated on their websites, nothing went out to parents saying, hey, we have open positions. Would you like to volunteer? Come out. Every single board member, every single person on that board is either tackle football or flag football. To me, you think you would have diversity. You would need people from other sports to come in to be on an executive board, not just 2 boards that are pretty much joined together. These 4 new board members were brought on because they were people that the executive board reached out to, and some of them kind of knew things were going on, so they submitted their applications.
Okay.
One of the board members is actually somebody who admitted
Yeah.
to forging
So
her
finish
son's
this.
birth certificate to play tackle football so he could play in a younger division. How is this person?
Okay, okay.
Yes. Well,
All right, the guys, this is not acceptable.
She needs to sit down.
All right, no, this is not acceptable. The 5 minutes are up.
okay,
This is, okay. This is something that the organization needs to deal with. This is not something, this is, this is not,
But you're a board member on the executive board.
right, all right, everybody, please be quiet out there, please. Thank you so much. You guys have a lot of work to do internally, and I think that needs to all, right, and you all need to get together and figure it out. Once you have it all together, and then I think we can move forward with which way you guys decide you want to go. And I think that's the best bet to do at this time. You guys have a lot of work to do, and I don't think we need to be in the middle of that. Okay, so I can't make the motion, but if somebody wants to make a motion,
Through the chair.
hold on, please. One at a time, please, and everybody out there, please. Let's get this done.
Through the chair.
That-
I said through the
Sorry.
chair. She was
All right.
talking.
I
I
would
didn't-
like
I
to
didn't
address
hear.
a few
Sorry.
things before a
Guys,
motion.
please.
I would like to address a few things before a motion is made regarding the SPA with AAL. First, I would like to clear the disinformation that was claimed at the last board meeting by a board supervisor reporting regarding a conflict of interest I may have due to a business I own that may earn money from a certain organization. My husband owns an athletic training facility and trains athletes from all local organizations, including AAL, VA, Wellington, and various other locations. We have not earned money directly from any organization. The parents have all paid us individually. No organization fees. I'm talking.
You're benefiting.
I am talking by an individual parent pays for their
Guys,
child.
go. Oh.
There,
All right.
she needs to be removed.
Officer, please. Guys, I understand excuse me. All right, everybody, or we're just gonna end this right now and we'll bring it back next month. So either we're gonna let,
Delay things for your sports.
either we're gonna let Supervisor Farrell finish her statement, or we're gonna stop it right now and we're gonna move on. We can't function like this, please. We're trying to figure out a way for you guys to get it together. And after the accusations, I certainly don't blame Supervisor Farrell for wanting to answer to them, because nobody likes to be accused of something if they're not actually doing it or whatever. So please give her a minute. We've been respectful to everybody. Please, let's just respect each other. I understand passions are high. It's all about the kids. So let's act like adults and think about the kids as we're having this conversation. Please. breathe.
Thank you. There are a few issues that have been brought to my attention that I believe the supervisor should take into consideration before deciding to continue working on an SPA between ITID and AAL. One being that as this date, the records have still not been updated on the SunBiz website. According to the documents Wendy provided, I already gave all these dates. I'm not going to repeat it. But I will say that according to Miss Torado, last month, she stated that the VP, when she also confirmed that she resigned at her last meeting and she resigned, she admitted and confirmed that at the last meeting. That, no,
please,
no clapping. Let me
please.
get this out. That Jeff Grafton, who was the treasurer, is now the VP. I requested the minutes, and on those minutes, there's nothing on there that says that Jeff is the VP, nor has it been changed on their Sunbiz or on their website. During the last meeting, Ms. Torado confirmed that I just did that, okay, on the forms that were sent, state changes made, did that. In the past, I've always did that already because I did reach out to her and I did try to work with her, and I did it twice before I went through Indian Trails to try to get the minutes, and I was ignored. So to sit there and state that I did not try to work with you offends me, and I think it's very disrespectful to spread that out there. I had to follow up through Indian Trail a couple of times in attempts to finally receive minutes and the tax financial information. I would also like to mention the fact that the police were called on a few occasions regarding alleged theft committed by a former baseball president and his wife, also the treasurer of the baseball board. Once the officer suggested a forensic financial audit be done, all of the AAL accounts, nothing was done. This was in April. It is nothing but to go over your records, especially if he was only on the board for 2 months, to find out what purchases he did so that you could press charges. The raffle that was missing, according to the videos that we have obtained from the police department, was a raffle of $15,000, an Amazon of $20,000, and a concession of at least $2,200. Why were the 2017 taxes not filed? Why did it take so long to file your 22 taxes? Why are the 23 not done? And you guys were going to wait to do an audit, a financial audit on your account when 24 is done? You still don't even have 23 done. How was the meeting where the articles of incorporation notified? Did you send it out to your members, which according to the articles of incorporation that are filed on your Sunbiz currently, states that the members are parents of players and participants of the AAL. The suggested changes that would be voted on September 3rd meeting. Who voted on the approval of these changes? If Mr. Quinn was involved with the vote, that would make it a null and void as per your bylaws that state his position is a non-voting position. And the revised articles of incorporation are null and void if the notification was not sent to the members as per your articles of incorporation. In closing, for a fellow board member to state that I have an agenda to allow another organization to take over AAL is preposterous. The only agenda I have is that Loxahatchee residents have the best sports program and to protect the district from liability. It seems to me that we have a supervisor that neglects their fiduciary responsibility to the district and bends over backwards, protecting an organization that disrespects and ignores requirements and commitments listed in the SPA, and opens up a liability to the district. With so many flags, I don't understand why. At this point in time, I do not think the district should entertain an SPA with AAL. We should have a workshop with the members of the community that would like to work with the district to form a sports program for a community. I think that there are, as Ms. Accomando pointed out, a lot of cleanup in their organization before we should even think as a board that we would want them to represent us in a sports provider agreement to put on sports at our fields. That is all I have to say.
All right. Couple of things. With respect to the bylaws and the charter, there is a description about what a member is. A member is a member of sports board, president. It is not the parents and the children of the organization. You can have an opinion that that's what it's supposed to be. That's not what it is. Okay. I have a message here from Mr. Jeff Grafton. He says, sorry, I couldn't make the meeting. Patty has false information about $20,000 worth of Amazon charges. So apparently that's false. That number is false. He says there were a few $100s purchased on Amazon on his personal credit card. And my knowledge, when I heard about this, was that there was a request from the wife, Eva, and she had wanted to make a purchase. he gave the credit card number, she recorded it and used it again later with unauthorized purchases. That's what I was told. Now here it says there were a few $100s purchased on Amazon on his personal credit card, and they were disputed as fraud, and the league was not liable. At some point, there was, it says heat say rumors, I don't know what that is, about donations of 20K that may be misappropriated, but that was never proven to be the case. There were also Amazon charges made on one of the baseball bank accounts that were also disputed, and charges reversed with no liability to the Acreage Athletic League. So my assumption is that Josh stole my personal credit card information and made unauthorized purchases and misrepresented to vendors his authority to make those purchases on behalf of AAL. And that's where some of the issues happened with the sponsorship, because there were representations that were made that were not correct.
And this is why communication is so important,
Right.
right?
And
So
so lastly, I want to say that with respect to the recent appointments, I thought it was only 3 board members, but I could be wrong because I was at the meeting where it actually took place. And it's my understanding that according to the bylaws, that the executive board, just like every other board, if you have an opening in a term, you can appoint a person to that spot. And that's exactly what the board did. They had openings on their board and they appointed people to the positions after actually interviewing people that had submitted applications, which they had advertised for. That's my understanding. So, and they followed their bylaws to do so, if that is the case. Now, unless somebody can prove that that's not the case, then again, it's another false accusation. And that is what is happening over and over and over again. Okay. And the reason why I defend the Acreage Athletic League is because this is an organization that has had a relationship with the district for well over 25, 30 years. And it is run, and it, you know, when you understand, when I explain to people that you have the individual sports, they have their own board, they have their own rules that they adopt, that they run by, but it's subject to the umbrella, which is the Acreage Athletic League. And the Acreage Athletic League is the one who owns the service provider agreement that they entered into with ITID. If somebody is unhappy about an individual sport, which happened recently, okay, and it had to do with how that sport program was being run. And so there was complaints that were made according to the rules that went to the executive board. When the executive board gets in and they make a decision on something, they're the final straw. We are not the arbiters of any complaints that the parents have. And what has happened is that people think that we should be, and we're not. Okay. And it's not in the service
we
provider
shouldn't be
agreement.
involved in all.
It's never been in the service provider agreement. Our role relates to the relationship with the executive, with the Acreage Athletic League, to provide the parks. And quite frankly, I would assert that with respect to our parks, we haven't really held up our end of the thing over the past several years because of the condition of the fields. We have spent a tremendous amount of time and money on this, and it's still not rectified. And we're supposed to have staff. That's not happening. There's all kinds of things that are happening. And so I would like to make a motion that we have this workshop. And as part of this workshop, we need to be talking about the issues with the park, okay? Because that's something that's creating additional stress to the Acreage Athletic League for things that are not available that they always had available. Even for baseball, we have a press box that we can't even use.
They don't even use the park for things.
We do actually. We just heard about the adult league. I mean, and that's the thing, is that you don't even know what is used and what isn't and who's what. So regardless, the bottom line is we have a press box that is not just
a concession stand for baseball. The press box was always used as the offices, the meeting place. And it was supposed to be for training of coaches, for communication with coaches. It's also, they wanted to do, and they had requested that the Acreage Athletic League was going to renovate it so that they could provide a homework space for kids with adult supervision.
Yep.
Okay.
We had that
And then,
conversation
and then it got shut down.
because it's
Okay.
not
And,
in shape for that,
and
right?
so then in addition to that, they had another concession stand shed, which was supposed to, there was some electrical issues that were supposed to be fixed when we redid those fields. It is still not done and it is not usable. Okay. So we need to make some decisions about some of these things, and everything just keeps getting kicked down the road and we're not resolving anything. So my personal opinion is that we should have this workshop. I think we still need a service provider agreement. It is part of the identity of this community. Okay. And I think that it's something that we should continue to honor. And so with that, I'd like to make a motion that we have a joint workshop in the month of January. And the Acreage Athletic League should be invited to attend.
Okay, do we have a second? A second. Okay. So Mary? Yes. We have no second.
I would like to make a motion, since there was no second on that. I'd like to make a motion that we have a workshop in the beginning of January, that we get the community. I'm not saying leave anybody out. I'm saying the community to come here and let's work on a program that we can put together, and we can make sure that we have a sports program for the spring, and then we move forward from there. I think it speaks volumes when nobody seconds that motion. And I think the AEL should really take a look inside and see why. You said to me at that meeting last time when I was there that I said change, as if it was a bad thing. And instead of listening, you defended it, and this is where we're at. Change is not a bad thing. Listen to your participants. I understand that we shouldn't be involved in this. I agree. But unfortunately, you provide a service to us, and it brings us smack dab in the middle of it. And I want to listen to everybody. And I think it's important that the community comes out, gets involved, and builds a program. And I think it's important that when we have that meeting in January, I see all these same faces here, and bring more. That's my motion. Have a meeting in January, the first week available, that we can get everybody in and have a meeting and have the community here. That's my motion.
Beyond the athletic league?
I don't want it
What's
to
the
be
difference?
specific. I want it to be specific to the sports program. Yep.
So
sports.
you're making a workshop, a sports
For
workshop.
a sports workshop general, to where we work as a community to figure out what's best for our community and the best for our athletes, to make sure we have a program.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay. All right, so we did the public comment already, so we're gonna call the question. Motion to schedule a sports workshop in the beginning of January. Now, remember, we're away.
I think we have to look at the.
Yeah, it's
the week
gonna
of
have
the
to be
6th.
mid-January.
It's gonna have to be mid-January because we have our conference,
When is the conference?
the 8th, 9th.
Through the chair. The January regular meeting is on the 15th.
I don't want to combine it with.
No, because there's not enough time. Yeah, so we've got,
So let's do it on the 16th.
I think, well,
oh,
we don't.
doing it on his birthday. You're not.
Either the 13th or the 14th.
The 14th is the ALA meeting. So either the 13th or.
I think it's important that we do this, because I really do not want to see the kids delayed in having programs come February when everything starts rolling. So the 13th is a Monday.
Is that good for you? Rich? When do we get back Saturday? Friday, Saturday?
Are we gonna set a time for that? Do we need to set a time or are we gonna just
6:30?
6:30 is fair?
Good. Guys, please, we're almost done. Okay, all right, so we have guys, please, thank you. We have a motion for a sports workshop, January 13th at 6:30 PM. Put it in your calendars. All right, let's call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Michael? Okay, see that it passes 5-0.
Did we hear from all the cards that were?
Yeah, because they were deferred and all that. All right, so now we're moving on to the pulled consent agenda item, now 11.2, that was 15.3. One-time holiday administrative leave, coverage December 26th,
You better talk to somebody about ethics too.
2024, and January 2nd, 2025. Guys. Sorry. Mary, come on.
Sorry.
You big deal at that.
Talking about.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, let's get everybody a copy of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So, Ms.
So-
Argue, you,
Oh,
I'm sorry, Mr. Hanson, go
yeah,
ahead.
cause, yeah, so just quickly.
Yep. Guys,
Just-
please, back there, we're trying to do business.
Thank you. Ms. Akamondo, board, just quickly, so
Please
Miss,
provide us with copies of your text messages that you're doing right now.
I just sent a text to my husband stating, she just said to check into FX2. So I've just sent that to my
No,
husband.
okay.
Guys,
check your
guys,
ethics.
please,
Oh, my
please.
ethics.
Your
Oh,
ethics.
I guess
guys,
Yeah, I'm
As
very.
you're trying to talk under your breath.
I've been very clear. I
Let's-
wasn't talking under.
All
my
right,
breath.
Mr. Hanson has the floor, please, ladies. I'm sorry, please.
so Ms. Akamondo spoke to me prior, to this, agenda about something that we could do as appreciation to the workforce with, Hurricane Milton. And in the past, what has been recommended to the board was a skeletal, what we call a skeleton staff, but it's actually 50% staff the day after a holiday or the day before a holiday for one group around Christmas, and then for the other 50% the day before or after New Year's. And that way, there's really no significant impact on grading operations or maintenance or things of that nature, or there's really no budgetary or financial impact. So that's why this is on that.
Through the chair. So when you say there's no budgetary impact, this additional day that's being used is one of the floating holidays that we already approved?
No, this would be in addition.
So it's an
to-
additional day.
Yes.
So if we're giving all of staff an additional day off, in addition to all of the benefits we currently give, how is that no financial impact on the district?
Because we still are able to function operationally, so it doesn't really have an impact because the salaries are already covered. And we've done it before in the past, so that's.
Guys, can you keep it down back there, please?
I personally think that we have very generous benefits. And in terms of holiday time, in terms of sick time, I actually started doing some Google research to find out what was normal sick time that's given and what those policies are. And I was surprised just in a quick search what I found. I was shocked to find that we give 96 hours of sick time that can be carried over. Okay. And, so, all of these benefits that we give costs money. And we may have put something in the budget, but it costs money. And we give 3 in addition to, what is the total number of days, Miriam, that we have for holidays and vacation days?
And
Just
those
let's
are
just talk about
those are
holidays. There's
standard.
8
8 days. No, it's not standard because
Yeah,
there's
it's
8 days that are
standard.
government standard.
right.
Okay, and then we have 3 additional floating days, correct?
Yeah, we do 12 holidays, depends on what days the holiday falls on because of our work week.
And-
So if the holiday falls on a day that we're normally off, it transfers into a floating holiday.
Which is standard
And this past
everywhere.
year, we added July 1st, which is a Friday. So we're paying for a day that most of the time our staff isn't even working.
July 4th is,
Or July 4th, yes.
July 4th is
Yeah.
a holiday, yes.
And it's on a Friday.
Yes, because
Okay.
that's a holiday.
So I just think that, this year we're giving 5% increase in merit available, okay? We have very generous, and people out there are hurting, and then we're gonna say that this doesn't have a financial impact, but it does. Okay, every time
Yes,
we agree to spend more money or to approve more benefits, it ultimately has a financial impact. So if it's staff's not working, the residents are not getting the service that they would have otherwise had. So yes, it does have an impact. So I personally do not agree with doing that.
Through the chair.
That's the
Chair,
reason why we
sorry.
have 3 floating holidays, by
And,
the
and,
way.
and I believe that we had staff that were out as soon as a tornado passed through our district, cleaning up and clearing roadways. So to sit there and question them getting another holiday when on their off time, they were out in a dangerous situation.
Nobody's
with
disputing that.
But you're disputing them getting a day. And I can't imagine not giving, what do we call them at the holiday dinner? The
Raiders.
Storm Raiders, an extra day. I can't even believe it would be even in question.
I mean, the compensation, is competitive. But don't we want to do better? Don't, when you appreciate people and, you can't always, you can't step over the dollars to pick up the pennies sometimes. I mean, it's a critical, it's important for our staff to know that we care about them and their families and everything. And that makes them want to be here. I mean, with everything going on around us, you don't think that at any given moment, any one of our staff could jump ship and go work for a developer or a construction company with everything that's going on? I don't think that it's going to hurt the residents when our guys are out there working on their days off. They'll come in, they give to us. I think we need to give back to them. They are the heart and soul of this district every day, boots on the ground out there making things happen. I don't think we should negate that. I'm sorry. I
I
mean,
was not negating it.
I know, but
And we reward them.
I understand,
That was
but
the justification. You're gonna use this justification for the rest of the year and next year too. But
if it calls
and they were
for
paid
it,
for it. We pay them overtime. We pay them well. And I'm just saying that I think that at some point we should be a little bit more conservative about some of the decisions we're making because it does impact.
well,
the
we
district.
could spend millions and millions of dollars on a park, but we can't, throw a guy a day off. I mean, come on, let's not
Whatever.
do that.
I said what I said.
Because
that's
without them, we don't have a district that's
You're
functioning.
something that is absolutely incorrect.
Okay, well, that's
I
my
said what I
opinion,
said.
that,
You're
right.
entitled to
Okay, absolutely. Okay, so we need a motion, please.
So I'll make a motion to approve, approve one-time holiday administrative leave coverage on December 26th, 2024 and January 2nd, 2025 as administered by management.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, this was pulled off consent, so no public comment on this, right, Mary?
That's
Correct. Okay, let's call the vote. All in favor?
Through the chair, I pulled it from consent and moved it to the regular agenda.
Right.
So it is an agenda item. and
Yeah.
The public does
Okay.
deserve the right. to
But we don't have any cards. Scarlett, do we have any cards for 11-2? Okay, no, we have no cards. Okay, so let's call the vote. All in favor?
Opposed.
Rich? You made the
I
mo,
made
yeah,
the
so,
second.
okay, so see that it passes 4-1. Okay, now, that. So now we are updates. Did that, public input is done. Okay, 14.1, facility use permit for Legendary Motorsports, to host a car show.
I'm.
Oh, I'm
was
sorry.
there Anything on other government?
Did I miss something?
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry.
12.
Oh, 12. I'm so sorry. You're right. Because we moved that.
Right at the
Other
very bottom.
governmental updates. Do you guys have anything?
There's been a lot that's happened, but they will be later subjects for discussion.
Okay,
So
let's not jump ahead on something that's not happening and get everybody in an uproar about until it's actually something that may happen.
Yeah.
Because we did that last month.
I think that the rest of the board and the public deserve to know what we're engaged in, what's going on. I mean, why are we?
I don't
treating
think it's
anything as
not,
secret?
we're not,
Okay.
it's not something we're engaged in the way Jay is describing it.
Well, I
Like
think there
they-
is some things,
they-
there was a meeting you attended, Jay and Burgess, about properties on Coconut and North Lake. Why don't we
Well-
talk about those things? Those are other
Well,
government.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about
Yeah.
this. I was referring to Mr. Foy about any county DRO issues. So, 'cause I have a couple of things, so.
The county DRO issues are the same ones. There hasn't been a new one come up. If you wanted me to address it, the ones that are in the district, we could. Extremely briefly, the West End, which is at Seminole Pratt and North Lake, is in process. It's not approved yet. It's still on hold. And our comment, of course, was the drainage, whether that legal positive outfall existed. The Coconut Palm Plaza, that's the one on the east side of the Coconut, north of Hamlin and south of North Lake Boulevard. We found that the site plan had not been submitted nor approved at the city of Palm Beach Gardens, so
That's what I
on
was referring
hold
to.
until such thing progresses. The Vintage Oaks has been put on hold.
She can't hear you. Can you please talk?
We have a hard time hearing you.
Okay, the Vintage Oaks, which is east of Bay Hill, is on hold right now because of the agreement may not be accurate according to what they need to process their permits. The one in question right now, they don't have the permit from Palm Beach from Palm Beach County yet. So that's off the agenda for tonight. Loxahatchee Muslim church or whatever. That's the one on 62nd at Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. They have made their inquiry as to what the requirements are. I've sent them the surface water management policy. There are questions on the daycare at Okeechobee and 162nd, which are being processed through the county. We made them aware of our issues, and it's a major drainage issue with meeting our compensating storage and getting an outfall. So there's no real change in that. And I'm trying to think if there were other active DRO issues, but I think that's it.
Yeah, the only other, and it's really not even active because they have so many issues, and that's the west end or the west side at North Lake and Seminole Pratt Whitney.
They are
There
planning
is a
on,
slew of
recommending
county
denial.
issues,
Yeah.
and that's they're gonna be.
They're recommending denial on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was the only other thing we spoke about. But just quickly, so I had a meeting separate to Mr. Foy with the county planning, building and zoning about issues with Mr. Lester, our chief operating officer, regarding vehicles that are intentionally blocking either our canal access points or obstructions, such as fences that may or may not be permitted through the county. And then also vehicles that are, I don't know others' feedback, but vehicles that are also intentionally blocking roadways for grading maintenance. So we've been working with PBSO on tagging those vehicles, but I also wanted to raise it to the level of Palm Beach building and zoning and code, because it's becoming more and more of a continual basis on some of those roads. So we did share that with county PB and Z director. And then also, you know, I've had conversations, not to be redundant, with Lieutenant Sowers, but with Captain Turner, because we have had incidents and they're becoming more consistent with kids, or I don't know if they're kids, but OHV, dirt bikes, ATVs, playing chicken with our graders
Mhm.
and with just residential and even with our passenger vehicle, our work trucks. So they're aware of that. And as the sergeant indicated earlier, that is not something that is easy to catch,
Right.
but we're trying to work with them on alerting them as soon as it happens. And then I think that was it from my standpoint, since you already covered.
Yeah, one other item I forgot to mention was the Rawlings Estate. They have talked to us. They are entering into, they're becoming active. That's the one we had to act on today. They're going to clear their zoning. And that was a DRO action today.
Yep, thank you. And the last thing with Palm Beach Gardens, because that was actually very productive meeting, because Palm Beach Gardens is going to do something similar to what Palm Beach County's doing by including Mr. Foy in their development. They don't call it the DRO process, but it's something similar. And they also, both the city manager, Mr. Ferris, and the planning director, I forget her name, I apologize. But they both indicated that they are very aware of the concerns that we have, not only from a traffic standpoint, but more so from a residential standpoint of having any multi-story residential structure there. So
It's not
certainly-
compatible to have
Yeah.
it in front of a single family home like that. So
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Yes, and
they're
they
aware.
also
and
are
concerned.
very, whatever they do or whatever, as it goes through the process, like many of their PUDs and other undeveloped properties, they're going to make sure that there's proper screening, the proper, I think it's 25% set aside for preserve on a property and things. of
And will
that
be
nature.
included in those
And
conversations, which
of
is
course, Mr. Foy, and
fantastic. Yeah.
as we go through that, we will, or Mr. Foy or I will
Right.
let the board or the public know at these types of meetings. And then, again, they have not received any formal plans, and they weren't even aware of the plans that this board actually received.
And that's what I was referring
Yeah.
to. So I didn't mean to throw you under the bus, Shay, but I don't want to bring up something that's not even a thing, and get everybody all, oh my God, because I felt that way. I was like, what do you mean you're going to put this giant monstrosity in front of somebody's
So
house?
they
It's
have-
absurd.
They have not received any plans for that
Excellent,
property
excellent.
officially.
So hopefully,
or-
hopefully
or
the word's
even
out, like,
unofficially.
figure it out. Don't
Yeah.
do something else, right?
Yeah.
Through the
Okay.
chair.
Mhm.
So on the preserve, the 25% preserve, is that in addition to our equal compensating storage?
That's part of their land use code. I'm sorry.
Right, but is it in addition to,
Yeah,
or the preserve can be used for?
the preserve can be used in the calculation. However, if nothing changes, there is no effect of having an area that doesn't change. So you're not adding fill or adding detention, so it doesn't affect the calculation.
So they can't use that for their equal compensating storage, or they can? That's what I'm
If
trying to get at.
the governing agency allowed them to do something in a preserve, which I think is not allowed, they could use it, but in my understanding, a preserve is a preserve is a preserve. You don't touch that area.
Okay.
Through the chair, Ms. Farrell. Yeah, and that's something we can certainly discuss with their planning director whenever there is a plan actually submitted for not only that site, but even for the property that's off of 140th and Seminole, or not Seminole, I'm sorry, North Lake and Ham.
And that was the other question I was gonna have, is the North Lake and Seminole Pratt Whitney. Have they talked with you about what their plans are for drainage? And are they able, because what they're proposing is 16 gas station or pumps and like another basically 7-Eleven type thing. And then several buildings with a drive-through restaurant. And I'm curious how they're able to do all of that and still meet the equal compensating storage.
Yes, we have,
And it's only 6 acres.
we have discussed it. I have provided the policy to them. I have stated that it doesn't look like they can meet the policy. The issue right now, before they would actually come in for the permit, they are part of our district, is the discussion about legal positive outfall. Right now, their plan, to answer that question, is to connect to the lake that the county is going to build and turn over to us.
So the county is turning that over to us.
Yes,
And,
and that doesn't exist as of now, and the county hasn't tried to modify its permit with us. So my position to the county was and is that does not constitute a legal positive outfall. But at the same time, we are obligated to provide drainage service to them if they figure out a way to get it to us. A future possible connection to me doesn't constitute satisfying the county condition, but that is a county determination. Again, the equal compensating storage, unless they have massive underground storage tanks, they cannot meet it with the current site plan. Or they could buy an off-site parcel like the expansion of the Planet Kids, I think it was, off of North Lake did. So there are a couple possibilities how they could meet the requirement, but they have presented no plan or calculations as they're in the site planning process. They're in a zoning that they're trying to get the zoning classification changed, land use changed. So it's not something that they would do as of now. So I don't have the answers of how they would satisfy our policy.
Right.
Thank you.
Well,
Mr. Hanson, did you have anything else?
No, I think Mr. Foy and I covered from our aspect
Okay,
at
perfect.
staff level.
All right, so then we're gonna move on to 14.1. Facility use permit for Legendary Motorsports to have a car show at Acreage Community Park. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay.
For the sleeves for Legendary Motorsports.
Yeah, okay.
Second.
Second, Patty? Okay, we had the cards. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
I see that it passes 5-0. Okay, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda amended to just 15.1 and 15.2.
I'll make the motion.
Oh,
Better.
that was like a tie, so Betty?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay. All right, and there was no comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes 5-0. Any staff presentations?
Yeah, just a few quick
Sure.
things. So first of all, welcome to the Thunderdome, Mr. Vaso. So,
Your first meeting.
yeah, yes.
For
So,
breaking your
and-
heart.
And welcome again for a third term.
Welcome back.
Miss Argue, so. Just quickly, a lot of times in December, we talk or recognize Pearl Harbor, but I just want to recognize 2 days ago was Battle of the Bulge, and it was the 80th anniversary, which was a pivotal battle in the European theater. So just that should be recognized here tonight.
Absolutely, thank you.
And then again, just want to thank the parks and other staff, Kenny, Jeff, Kayla, Miriam, and of course, some of the ops people that came over and helped out, as well as board members and volunteers for the Santa's Magical North Pole excursion.
I was kind of polling people and everybody had a really good time. So I want to, again, thank staff and the volunteers for doing this for our community. I think it's really important. So thank you.
And then just Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Happy holidays.
Guys,
Thank
take
you.
it from here.
All right, thank you very much. Supervisor business. So Rich, this isn't gonna be really, you're not quite there, but you already had your 10 minutes at the beginning, so keep it light, okay? I'm gonna start with Michael.
Good.
Okay.
If I may mention the meeting that we were at this morning with the delegates.
Beaten to it, okay, thank you.
Did I beat you to it?
It's okay,
So good, I'm
Take-
glad I got to.
you can take it.
President Accomando gave a phenomenal presentation today to the delegates of Palm Beach County and around our state. It was phenomenal. Staff who put together the video slide presentation with the drone footage and everything of our district. I thought it was amazing. I thought what you did was outstanding.
Thank you.
You were right on cue. And, thank you for doing that.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. I think it's really important that they all know and understand who we are, what we do, and what we're up against. And I think we got a lot of good feedback. So I'm very happy about that. So thank you. Appreciate that. So you stole my thunder. So yeah, I had been invited to go to the local delegation to speak. And I was, of course, more than honored to do so. And basically it was just an informative thing. It was no ask. We've got that working. We've got people doing that, right? So I just went, this is who we are and this is what we do. And this is how much road we take care of. This is how much culvert we take care of. This is our parks, the whole thing. And the position that we're in, right? So we're being crunched in by development. How do we move forward from here? They're here, we're here. How do we coexist in an equitable fashion for our residents? So I think I drove that point home in a reasonable manner. And I appreciate that opportunity very much to be able to do that. Because normally we're just going up there. We've got 2 minutes and you'll see, we got 2 minutes to say, hey, this is what we're doing and we need your help. And then they're on to the next person and we're on to the next person. It's kind of like an assembly line. So this gave us, 3.5 minutes to really get into it, right? So thank you. And I just want to wish everyone a very happy holiday. Be safe, be well, be peaceful. We're all in this together, right? So we're gonna get it all worked out, right?
And I just got the High School Musical theme song.
Oh, I don't know. I never saw it, so thanks. Patty,
All right.
no
Supervisor
sports,
business.
please.
I'm not, promise. I'm done with that. I want to make our meeting, our workshop a
Let's-
positive.
Yes, let's do.
I want it to be positive. I want to thank Miriam for putting on a great
Good.
holiday dinner, holiday party.
That was great.
A couple weeks ago, the decorations, the food, the music, entertainment, was amazing. We got some line dancing going on with some, supervisors and
Pretty.
commissioners. I won't mention any names.
Wasn't pretty. This thing.
I wasn't alone on the dance floor. It was a good time. I mentioned earlier the holiday event, with the rain and the shine, not even shine, it just rained and didn't rain and rains and didn't rain. The community coming out and supporting that event and seeing so many kids out there and putting them on the sleigh. We had moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, little bitties, everybody coming out and enjoying the event. And I really look forward to this event becoming an annual event for us to enjoy. I know a couple of people from the community went to the Westlake meeting and I appreciate you guys going out and talking to Westlake about our traffic woes here. I think it's going to be important that we do try as a community to get with the other communities that are surrounded by us and really work to stress how stressful our drive is. Once upon a time, my drive to work was between 35 and 40 minutes, and now it's anywhere between. And if I'm lucky and I get out, it starts out at 53 minutes. And then by the time I'm at work, it's probably an hour and 5 minutes. So I know we can't speed up progress, but man, I really hope we can push seeing future development and not just close minding ourselves to having roads fail almost immediately. I did attend Commissioner Baxter's meeting yesterday regarding the extension to Okeechobee. I would not want to be in her shoes. We are in Loxahatchee, we are a rock and a hard place with our traffic and our exits out of here. And even before Westlake was put in, before Avenir was here, before Ancient Tree, and God only knows what else they're going to put out this way. We had traffic issues. We've had concerns. I've been out here for 21 years and we have had concerns about what if there's a fire? and we have to evacuate our area. We have 3 exits, 2 of which get clogged on a normal day. Can you imagine it being in an emergency situation? And then we have a third that it's 30 miles an hour. So I really hope the commissioner, and I know, Rich, you had mentioned you want to work. I think we need to. I think we need to work as a community and be involved with the surrounding communities with us. So I hope we can work that out.
Can I just add to that real quick? So
Mhm.
today, as a matter of fact, when I was leaving the meeting, I was backing up my giant truck in that little small parking spot. This lady was like laughing, why do you got such a big truck? I said, well, it's where I live. And she says, well, I live in Loxahatchee too. She goes, well, really, I live in Westlake and I know that you hate me. And that made me sad, right? Because why do we hate the people that live there? They want to live in an HOA. God bless them. Let them live there. We don't, but we can't blame them. I see it all the time. Oh, it's the people from Westlake. No, it was the developer that plopped himself in the middle of the room, right? The people that bought there, I don't think that they're trying to change anything. They just want to live happily. And for people to just come out and say, oh, you're from Loxahatchee, you hate me. I mean, I don't think that's what our community represents. And that made me really sad. So I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry to
Very good.
interrupt
That's-
you, but
And I'm done. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. See you all next year.
yes.
But you get that from Acreage Speaks.
Yeah, well,
But,
yeah,
So
for the most part, yeah,
everything is their fault.
yeah, exactly.
However, I agree, it was the developer and it was the county who allowed it and the county who has not solved the problems. So having said that, I did not attend the meeting last night. I had some personal matters to attend to. And, but I also don't believe in attending meetings just for the purpose of rallying communities against each other or anything like that. And, I personally think that there were some things that were shared that were not factual and should be corrected for the record. And the most important one is that apparently there was a statement made last night that ITID receives money from the county and the state for road maintenance,
Who said that? I
ITID
think that
roads.
a person said.
And that was not correct.
Who said that?
I'm just telling you that it was stated at the meeting on the record by a public official. It is not true. ITID does not receive money from the county or from the state or from federal, for that matter, for road maintenance.
Correct.
We do not.
I don't know if
And,
anybody's- I didn't.
and so beyond that, I raised a question at the last meeting regarding insurance. And that, I think that, you know, this can go too far and be excessive. I have talked to numerous people that are vendors, bounce house providers. None of them have been required to provide the sexual abuse and molestation policy. It's excessive. The other thing is that we have never required a vendor in our community, like the tents to, you know, we got a lady who makes jams, we got somebody else who makes soaps. And when we have events in our parks, those vendors look forward to coming and being a part of that. But they're the small guy and requiring, and even the t-shirt vendor that you were referring to, we never required insurance from them. So suddenly now all of these people are being required to have insurance, and I'd like to see all the insurance for.
That insurance was not to us, it was to the athletic league and then forwarded to us.
Okay, but
And remember,
they were not required to provide it in the first place until it was requested. They were told that
Okay.
that vendor could not
And-
come unless they had insurance, which I thought was bizarre because we've never required insurance for vendors like that.
Okay.
And that's my
So,
point.
I understand. As far as the conversation we had with the insurance, he said it is not fit in a box, right? There will be exceptions to the sexual molestation policy. If I, right? Is that not what he said? This is
Ye-
not something that's going to fit neatly in a box, that there will be situations where it may not be needed, correct?
So through the chair, so how events work, if you are an event provider, so let's say like Indian Trail puts on an event, or let's say the ALA puts on an event, AAL puts on an event, they can put on the event and they provide the sexual molestation insurance. They can put on the event insurance, then they do not require the
Each vendor.
individual vendor to have that insurance, to carry the insurance, because they have the
That's not-
event insurance and they will carry it. Now, if they choose that they have rather the vendor carry the individual insurance because they do not want to carry the insurance and they want to cover it through the general liability insurance and the separate insurance, then that's the choice of them, which I do not recommend. It is easier to cover it through an event insurance, and I want to say it's cheaper. Like if you do an event insurance for the day, it is, cheaper. If you do one event, it is cheaper to do that event because
it
you can
blankets the
cater,
whole
you can
event.
make it for that day, that event. Yeah, an umbrella. Yes. It is much, much easier.
So again, based on what you're saying, why are we requiring certain entities to provide vendor insurance, like a t-shirt seller?
That,
I think it needs to be.
yeah, that would be the person that puts on the
Kenny
event.
has his hand
Because if
up,
they
too.
do not carry the sexual molestation event coverage, then yes, they will carry it through the vendor. And quite frankly, with recent, developments, I
second,
mean, I'm
Kenny.
sorry, that is something that you do want to carry as an organization, as the district. It is just something where you want to protect yourself as an organization. It is not something that is lightly, and it's not something that we gain something out of it other than that you protect yourself as officers, yourself as individuals. I mean, unfortunately, yes, 30 years ago, it wasn't as
Necessary.
yeah, as necessary. Unfortunately, it is now.
Sign of the times.
Unfortunately, we are in the times where it is just necessary to have carry it.
Kenny's got his hand up. Kenny, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to, hold on.
Hi.
Sorry about that. So that particular vendor, they had general liability coverage that was in question. We weren't actually requesting them to have SAM coverage. The general liability policy that was submitted to the district was more than 5-6 months old. And we originally requested a more up-to-date certificate so that the certificate itself, we could guarantee that would be active. There were some items on it that were kind of questionable. So I did reach out to the actual broker themselves to confirm it because I was trying to help pass that through so we can guarantee that the insurance was active and we can actually give them permission to be on the fields. And the VP of that organization actually was the one that emailed me back stating that that policy was no longer active and that it was fraudulent. I do have an email that I could share with that if anybody wanted to see it, but we did not actually ask SAM coverage from that individual. We were just trying to get general liability because they are an organization, they are a business, performing business, selling items.
But Kenny, Miriam just said that if the event provider has insurance, general liability insurance and the SAM, then we don't extend that to every single vendor that is attending. So why are we requiring a t-shirt guy to be providing a general liability policy? The soap seller that is going to pay $25 to be at an event doesn't have that kind of insurance. Most of these t-shirt people, they don't have that kind of insurance. We're making it so that the crafters in our community that want to support community events can't even do that. And I'd like to see all the insurance for all the tents that were at the park this past weekend. I highly doubt that it exists. So, that's what my point is, Kenny. We're requiring insurance from people and on things that we shouldn't because the insurance already exists. The Acreage Athletic League, they were having the event. They already have their insurance. They have the SAM as I understand it. They have the other general, well, actually, Sam, they weren't required to do it until we had recently requested it.
Right.
But regardless,
That vendor didn't need it though for the shirts.
No.
Miriam,
But
And
for
general
liability-
liability is something that they still have to get. So general liability, they still have to get workers' comp, they still have to get auto insurance, they still have to get, it's the same that is separate. So auto insurance, when they do
that's for
drive,
like a food truck.
if it's a
So-
food truck,
Right.
if
But
it's
they-
a
Not the
workers'
fish
comp,
truck guy.
and
Sure.
No, he wouldn't need auto
he would
insurance.
need, he would need, but that's why they go over the insurance requirements. They go over when they, let's say, okay, hey, I want to bring XYZ on, I want to bring a food truck on, then they do need, if it's only one person working, you don't need a workers' comp. They just need to call the insurance company and say, I need an exemption. And they, if
Yeah,
they
anything
say that it
for
is a
employees.
extreme work to get this, no, it's
But
not.
that's not what's happening. This is what I'm trying to bring to the board's attention. Okay? That's not what's happening.
Honestly,
And
though,
quite frankly,
there's a
asking
lot
for
of,
workers'
a
comp-
lot of, a lot of vendors do not have issues. Because we have a lot of vendors that can get the insurance, that are providing the insurance.
Large
and
scale vendors, yes. The
Yeah.
small, what I'm talking about is these community events are like people in our community that make crafts that want to sell their baskets, for example. Do you have insurance? Do you
I'm
know?
not gonna
right.
go on these.
Most people do not carry insurance for doing an event like that. It's crazy.
Yep.
So.
If it's a
Question.
business,
Do I
it
have
should
a
have
question?
insurance.
I have a question to this.
But the
But, no,
event,
I
she
get it, I
said,
get
the
it.
event has insurance. If I have insurance, I'm having the
If it's
event.
the-
Everybody that attends should not need it except for the food and, some other big vendor.
Well, in
Excuse
Royal-
me, we're
guys,
having a meeting. What the hell?
Guys, if you want to talk back there, please step outside. I know when I go to Royal Palm, if I have vendors, they have to provide insurance. And even though I have insurance with the certificate of insurance to Royal Palm, if I'm bringing vendors, I still have to provide their insurance.
So
Yeah.
through the chair,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify.
It's
Why
okay.
don't we do an event? So why aren't we partnered with ALA or they partnered with us, however you want to phrase it? Our event, so the district, we paid additional event insurance for vendors that came there, so they would not have to do that. So again, if this
And
is
those are
something
the
that the
smaller
board wants to look
vendors.
for,
Right.
when, whether
Most of
it's.
them are.
Right.
Yeah, so if the board wants to look at something for whatever, the AAL or whoever, they're putting on an event and you want them to capture something like that, then all we need to do is try to work with them and their insurance provider, so that is covered. Cause yeah, we
Right.
don't.
As
wanna-
long as
we
everything
don't
is
wanna-
covered, I don't care who's
Yeah.
got to do it, who's got to,
I don't want us having to chase
Right,
down all
right.
these, but when we have these requirements that are set by Aegis to you, then we have to
You
make sure
have
we
to
follow
follow it,
through.
right.
But the board has the ability to amend that however you want.
But this is what I was trying to bring up at the last meeting. And again, there have been examples where, it was supposed to be common sense would prevail. But in fact, it seems that that's not the case. So I think that the
Well,
board
I don't think we've
does
had
need
any
to.
event since then that required that.
Okay, well, we had
since
an
we
event this
discussed
past
it,
weekend.
There
which
was
by-
no vendors
there-
except
there
for
were
the food
vendors there.
trucks.
There were
Food trucks.
There were vendors.
and they had-
there.
No, food truck.
No, just food trucks.
I was there. There was only three food trucks.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up, because when that park was designed, we were supposed to have the whole parking lot paved. And we worked with the county because we couldn't afford to do it. And the other thing is that the county wanted us to have medians and trees and excessive lighting in the parking area. And we did not have that in the budget to do that. We were trying to find ways to cut money so that we could get the project done and get it done in a timely way. We negotiated with the county to allow us to have a drive aisle that goes around that parking lot. And that drive aisle is really for emergency rescue vehicles, okay? It appears that there have been events that have been allowed, and this past weekend was one of them, where we're blocking off that drive aisle. And it was blocked off this past weekend. And so I went to look for a staff member. Well, I was there and could not find a staff member. Then I tried to call the director of parks and then the assistant director of parks. And then I think I tried calling Rob, but nobody answered the call. Okay. And when I finally did find an ITID staff member, I was told that he was not there to actually work the event. I said, well, who is? Oh, well, it's Juniper. I go look driving around. Juniper was nowhere around.
The holiday event? All of our staff was there.
On Sunday?
No, not on
On Sunday I'm
Sunday.
talking
Oh,
about.
I don't know anything about Sunday.
I'm
What was
talking about
Sunday?
Sunday. and
Sunday
there
was
were
a,
vendors there.
that was a
Hold on.
different event. That was I think Kenny, was that Holly
was the dance,
Devil
the holiday
thingy?
dance.
Yes, it was the Holodazzle
It
and
was a
some-
community park.
That's what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
we're talking about two different things.
Well,
Hold on.
I never said anything
Okay.
about
Okay,
any other, but
We
we're talking about.
talking about the event. Never mind, just
right.
continue.
It's okay.
Yeah. You guys, your brain was on what ITID did.
Yeah.
I was on the event at Acreage Community Park, and that's what I was referring to
And
when
they
I was
did have,
talking about the
yeah,
event.
she did have coverage
There-
because we were working with her very closely because she did have.
Okay. Anyway, we're
coverage.
done on that for now. I think
Yeah.
I've made my point about the small vendors and requiring insurance is just excessive.
Yeah.
And but moving on to the drive aisle, right? It should never be blocked. And we have staff, and I remember when we approved the Juniper contract, we approved the
There would
cost
be
of that
staff.
was that we were gonna have staff on both sides of the park. And every time I'm at the park, and I'm there often because I have a son who actually plays there, and he's there all the time, even when he's not playing in an organized sport. So I'm there a lot, and I hardly ever see more than one person if I see one person. Okay, and this past weekend, to me, it's unacceptable. We have one half of the park closed most of the time. Why did we not? And then the other thing is, why are they staying in their vehicles? Okay, they should be out walking around, being visible. So, I have brought these things up in the past. They continue to happen, but from a safety standpoint, that drive aisle should never, ever be blocked. And the food trucks should never be allowed, and the vendors should never be allowed to face outwards. We experienced that when we did the grand opening, and I said, you guys can't do that. It's going to block the drive aisle. And what happened? It blocked the drive aisle. So the board directed after that not happen again. Okay, so that's staff responsibility. And I shouldn't have to come and find these things, but it concerns me when we're spending the amount of money that we are on Juniper. And in addition to that whole issue, I was walking the South Park and I noticed that the grass is infested with weeds. No, and I'm not talking about the field. The field is a disgrace, okay? But the actual grass, the landscaped areas, we're paying good money. And I said, when we agreed to that contract, I said, we need to make sure we manage it properly and that the work actually is getting done, because this is an incredible amount of money we're paying. And in addition to that, we never reduced the number of staff that we have for ITID parks. So why is it that we didn't have anybody at the park this weekend? Why is it that I'm getting complaints and seeing complaints on Facebook from residents about seriously decrepit park equipment, rusted out steel? Okay. And we're supposed to have our park staff doing an inspection of every single park on a daily basis when they open up the park and when they close the park.
Yeah.
And yet we have at least 2 different parks where we have equipment that is absolutely unsafe. And it shouldn't be residents posting on Facebook and us as a board finding out about it that way. It is unacceptable. So
They're actually trying to find parts. And we've talked about this before. It's aging equipment. The parts are hard to get. And that's why we're going for these
But when you
grants to get
have-
new equipment. and
But
we
when
just
you
talked
have
about this.
equipment that is
Yeah, it
still,
needs to
that
be,
it's
right.
like, you gotta shut that down. You cannot even have staff or kids
Yeah.
playing on that.
Through the chair, then we'll be shutting down every playground. So
Right.
we've been trying to work on this, but I'm gonna let Mr. Lawrence address the issue with what's going on with ACP South, and then if you need me to, I'll jump in. Mr. Lawrence, so please go ahead.
So the original setup for that holodazzle is the exact same setup that we've done with the ALA concerts, the ones with the Frontier event. We had several meetings with them to make sure that they met the IST agreement. And that's exactly what they did. They weren't blocking anything. They used cones to kind of secure an area so that people could safely go from the amphitheater over to the actual food trucks that were out there. They did have requests originally outside of those zones, and we put them back into those zones. Uh, I wasn't available this past weekend because I was actually running a half marathon with my wife. So I had personal reasons why I couldn't answer the phone. Uh, ACP South Expansion's fields right now, the multipurpose field should be getting torn up here in another couple weeks. As far as Juniper, they have been at the parks, and I don't know if you've seen the north side, but the baseball fields look better now than I've ever seen them in the last 5 years that I've personally been there. So they are improving the parks. They've got a lot of work to do. They have on average between 3 and 4 staff there on a daily basis, except for the weekends. They have shorter staff on the weekends. They weren't tasked to actually manage that event. It's a private event. An event that the board approved like a month or two ago. So
Kenny, I'm telling you that regardless of whatever your plan was, if we have staff there, we should have staff there, and they should be making sure, regardless of whether it's a private event, that what the agreement is they're actually doing. And I'm telling you, the drive-through was blocked. There was yellow tape across. Okay, I could not drive through there on either, and I drove around, and that was another thing, is that the parking was ridiculous. So I had to, anyway. It should not have happened, and we should make sure when there are events there that does not happen.
So in the photo that I'm
You
sharing
can
right
see
now,
cones
if you
right in
can
the
see it,
drive aisle, right
these
there.
cones can be moved for easy accessibility for emergency vehicles. They didn't have anything permanently blocking that. And Mr. Sisolak was actually on site and checked out the site several times to assure that they were in IST compliance with the district. So there wasn't anything that was outside of the norm, what we would have done for any event, including the ALA events.
The
So
ALA
this is-
events, we never, ever allowed there to be any tape across the drive aisle.
There's no
okay?
tape there. That's just cones.
Okay, there was, I saw it with my own eyes. So are you calling me a liar, Kenny? Come on now.
I'm not
Okay,
calling
I
anybody a
saw it
liar.
with
I'm
my
actually
own
looking at a
eyes.
photo that I'm looking at online that I took from a video
Right.
screenshot.
Okay, well, there was yellow tape. In fact, you can see it. I think on the left-hand side there, maybe somebody pulled it off, but there was yellow tape across. And it was completely blocking. And then the other thing is blocking the handicap parking spaces with ATVs and side by sides. So anyway,
And
Through the chair, may I ask you-
one more thing, yeah, in this fiscal year, we did cut 2 parks positions. As a result.
when we went to,
Yes.
okay.
Thank you. So I can better understand what we're talking about here. When you're talking about the drive aisle, what is a drive aisle?
There's at Acreage Community Park.
Kenny, can you put
There's
the
only
photo back
one
up?
paved double lane that goes around the center driveway area where the millings are. And then there's parking off both sides, right? Some areas it's paved, in the center area, it's millings, right? So the drive aisle is right in front of the amphitheater there. It goes around, completely around.
Goes around the park.
Yeah.
Okay. And is
So
your
this is for
concern as
emergency
there's an
vehicles.
emergency, that fire rescue?
There should, it
just-
should not be blocked.
And when you say blocked, are you talking about by cones or by vehicles?
There were people, there were cones, there was tape. It was blocked. You could not get through there at all.
Okay, I assure you that if there was an emergency, fire rescue will be able to handle cones. And if there was yellow
Sure.
tape, they'll get through. There'll be a million people guiding them in, showing them exactly where the situation is. And I'd have to look at that personally to see exactly what you're talking about. But to me, it doesn't sound like that
It-
big of an issue.
Okay, it is actually a big
I
issue
think
because
so.
it was part of the agreement that we had with the county when we
Right,
agreed to do
but
that.
Cones is
it-
not blocking emergency vehicles, trust me.
Well,
30 years
people
on the street.
standing and
And the people
actually
will
having an
move.
event in
They-
there.
You'll be surprised how they move when
Okay.
you blow air horns and
All right.
sirens.
You remember, I don't know if you were still.
Should not be allowed.
The Fire started in the bush right there during one of my events and they had no problem.
If we want to be concerned about blocking something that I made happen years ago was the gate at Community Park where the football fields are at the southeast entrance. And that was from many calls out there. This was back in Tim Wajner's days, that we were unable to get fire rescue apparatus, particular rescue vehicles out there. After the third time of responding out there, particularly to the furthest west football field for maybe a broken leg and hysterical parents and things like that, we had a gate put in. It was done. I came over here, spoke with Tim Wajner. It was done
You're
like
talking about the North Park.
the football fields.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
on the north.
Well,
side.
there's football fields in
Yes.
both parks. So you're talking about the north side.
The north.
Not where the track is.
No, where the track is south side.
Not where the track is.
Okay, all right.
So we had those gates put in. Something that concerns me very much, particularly during AAL football games, when that gets very crowded, the parents are blocking that gate and it's happening a lot. We'll address that later, how we're going to enforce that not to happen. That's also a
That's why we
great,
have staff
a
there. They're
great
not
landing.
supposed to be allowing that.
Well, I mean, they don't have police authority either, so. But we can talk about that another day. But as
Yeah,
far as
we'll
those
talk about
cones,
that at the workshop.
that's something I'm not gonna worry about.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item 18.
I make a motion to receive and file items 18.1 to 18.8.
Second.
Betty? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that passes 5-0, and this meeting is adjourned. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Stay up, flip side.